Hello, and welcome back to the first in the third series of the Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello there.
And the fool, the round-headed buffoon that is Karl Pilkington.
Alright.
We've been away filming our second series of extras, leaving Karl to his own devices in a sweltering London. We've had a heat wave here in the capital city, haven't we, Karl?
It's been hot, hasn't it?
It's been up to 100 degrees, record-breaking temperatures.
Yeah.
What have you been doing, though?
Sort of enjoyed it a little bit, was out and about.
Yeah?
Getting to see the place, having loads of walks, and that. I like to have walks. You know, watching what
like
people
a dog.
are doing.
Yeah! When he jumps off the couch and starts
Exactly.
scratching against the door.
Suzanne thinks it's time.
No, it's just good thinking time, though, isn't it? As well, having a walk. You've got no other clutter going on around you. And
Right.
you just think about a lot of stuff. And, you know, like you say, with the weather being hot and stuff, a lot of insects knocking about.
Right.
So I've just been watching them.
so while we've been filming a TV show, you've been watching insects.
Yeah, just seeing, because everybody knows insects are out there, but no one's keeping an eye on them.
What are they up to? What are you worried about?
Loads at Steve, you wouldn't be laughing like that if you'd watch them, because they do some weird stuff and that, is what I mean.
What sort of stuff? Any examples?
I saw a bee have a heart attack.
You saw a bee have a heart attack.
Yeah.
How were you sure it was a heart attack?
Because what happened, I'd been
Did
in
it clutch its chest with all 6 legs?
No,
Were there some other little bee paramedics?
No, I'd just been out in the park anyway, just looking at, you know, caterpillars knocking about, butterflies and stuff, so I was sort of aware.
So when Suzanne goes to work, she goes, Karl, don't you waste the day. Just because you don't work at the radio station anymore, I want you to do some constructive stuff. And you go, yeah, I am, yeah. And so in your head suddenly goes... and he goes out, oh, there's a moth.
But the thing is, so I'd been in the park and I was aware of the insects that are around us more than, like, most of the time. And I come out of the park, just crossing, like, sort of a busy road and what have you, and I saw this bee to the right of me, sort of in the air, and it was a big one, and I was a bit like, oh, let's watch that. And it just fell. It fell from the air in front of me, and it was on the pavement. I thought, oh, what's going on here? And I looked at it for a bit, and it was really still. Gave it a little kick, just to see if there was any movement. Nothing. Stone, sort of, what's the saying? Stone cold dead.
Yeah! Stone cold bee dead.
So,
Yeah.
that
I like
was,
the fact that this bee suddenly saw Karl and had a heart attack.
Yeah.
It'd never seen anything that round before.
Yeah.
It just thought, it had approached him because he thought it was a sunflower.
My God, it's a giant walking orange. Every dream has come true.
no, but it just summed up life for me. I thought, that's like us, isn't it, at the end of the day? They have heart attacks, stress.
You
Living
put
in-
it down to stress, do you?
Well, it's in London, isn't it? You know, everything has stresses from living here,
And they are bald, aren't they? They've got fur all over, but they lose the...
and always overweight.
It was a fat, bald bee! Oh.
So what did you... It fell to the floor and you instantly... You just kicked it. You didn't
No,
attempt
I
to
waited a
revive
second and just looked at it to see if there was any, you know, leg movement or wing, and there was nothing, and then when I sort of kicked it, it was sort of hard. It had hardened already. It's just...
Rigor mortis had set in.
Rigor mortis had set in.
Did it put you in a bad mood for the day? Because I know things like that can just send you over the edge for the day.
Death and that does a bit. Suzanne doesn't like me talking about death.
What riveting conversations do you come up with?
No, just things like, one of our mates has had a baby recently, and I just was saying, oh, when that's sort of our age, we'll nearly be dead.
Think of that.
That's the first thing he says, is a new life brought into the world.
I know!
But when he's our age, we'll be dead.
Yeah.
No, it's
Maybe they'll
weird.
let you do the speech at the christening.
Yeah, it's just, you know, so like I say, just insect life and that, it's interesting.
You say it's interesting, but do you care about really finding out about them? Do you really care about what bees do or what ants do? You look at them and you make up your own world. For example, it had a heart attack, it's stress, it's overweight. You know nothing. I could probably... Won't you look something up? You know, honeybees are fascinating. You know, honeybees, they've been around making honey for 100 million years. That's incredible. Their wings beat over 11,000 times a minute.
And he's thinking, no wonder it had a heart attack.
Yeah, exactly. But they're do you know bees, like ants, are actually like specialised wasps. They're sort of developed from the same
Family.
Huh?
Family, like.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise you, though. Does it interest you in any way?
Well, everything's linked to something, isn't it? It's like how they say we're from monkeys and that.
Yeah.
It's all the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been watching loads of stuff. I've been watching Ants. You mentioned Ants. I've had a lot of moths in the house. They're sort of sad.
I mean, you say it like it was a garden party.
No,
Yeah.
it's just all these things. You look at them. I mean, you go into the scientific bit saying, you know, it likes honey or whatever.
It doesn't like honey. The reason they store honey is to get them through the winter when there's not, like, nectar, or nectar's hard to get, and they store it. And they store too much, which is why we can skim a little bit off the top. We're like agents.
Yeah, well, but all I'm saying is I look at more about what its life is like as opposed
Well, no, you
to...
don't. You don't. You guess. You make it up. You don't look into it at all.
No, but you can. A bit of guesswork is you're pretty close to the truth most of the time.
Why?
You're
What do you
thinking-
mean? That statement sums you up. A bit of guesswork is pretty close to the truth.
Because if you watch something long enough, is what I'm saying, you can see that it's a bit clueless. It's the same way about ants, or, you know, they're hard workers and all that. I watch one, it's going back and forth all the time. They go one way and then they stop and go the other way. They try to look busy in front of the mates. But if you watch one... If you watch one long enough, it's back and forwards, and it's like it's done nothing there.
I'm going to carry this twig back and forth until I can knock off at 4.
There's a lot of that going on.
Is there?
Because there's not. There's none of that going on.
There is. No, like I say, the moth. Depressing little sort of thing.
Why is it depressing?
Just the way it hasn't got eyes, has it? You just look at it, it doesn't know what's going on. I just don't... I think if you haven't got eyes, you shouldn't have wings.
That's a rule. If we could put that into practice, please.
That's a great rule. That's a fantastic rule, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you haven't got eyes, you shouldn't have wings.
Certainly true of people thinking of becoming an air pilot.
Ah.
You know, whilst you've been working on that, I've been travelling about a bit, just seeing the
Ants.
country and that. Went to Dorset, right? Nice beach there. And you know those huts you get? Like a hut on the beach and you...
Oh, where you get changed?
You can get changed in it, but they're better than that. It's like you can put a telly in it, sofa if you want.
Oh, you don't mean the Victorian changing huts?
Yeah,
You mean
those sort
like...
of things. It's sort of bigger than that.
Yeah.
And we were walking down there and there was a really sort of big fat family in one of them. There was about 4 of them. And you could tell that they'd never had a game of anything, do you know what I mean? They just sit down there, eating ice creams, looking at the sea and what have you. And the weird thing is, the little fat kid, the youngest one, who must have been, I don't know, about 8, he was really fat, to the point of you couldn't see his neck.
Yeah.
And he sat at the front of his mum and dad and his older sister. He sat there, and he had a frisbee, and I thought, look, they don't want to play with him. I mean, that's an active game to play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Frisbee. As we got closer, he was just using it to eat Maltesers out of. I just thought, even, again, you know, the one active thing he's got, he's using it to eat out of.
Yeah. Extraordinary.
And that just sums up what people are like now when it comes to keeping fit and activities.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Were you sporty, Rick?
I was, yeah. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Were you good at it?
I was good at some things. Was never good at rugby. Never good at cricket. Was all right at football. But those things were the more competitive things that were scary. So at my school, when you're surrounded by, like, people the fun is hurting someone.
Well, it's weird you say it, because I remember the first day I went to play cricket, my mum said, as I was leaving, I was really excited about playing cricket, she went, be careful. I was walking across a playing field once, a cricket ball hit me on the head, I was unconscious for 2 hours. Freaked me out.
Yeah,
on the
well,
way to play cricket, I thought, okay, always scared of the ball, because it's obviously, as you say, rock solid. I remember a couple of seasons later, I had to play rugby for the first time. As I was leaving the house, she went, be careful with rugby. I knew a kid once broke his back playing it.
I was terrified of rugby.
I mean,
I was terrified of
scared.
it.
Such a scary
The
game.
ball came to me, I got rid of it immediately.
It's mental.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And what I remember is, I remember a teacher saying you've got to play it very carefully because you can get seriously injured, you can hurt yourself, you could be crippled for life. I remember thinking, why are we allowed to still play this game at school?
I was worried about cracking heads.
Yeah.
And a finger in the eye.
How is it not banned?
That worried me all the time, a finger in the eye. Like,
But they removed the asbestos from schools in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
But rugby
I
is
know.
allowed to play. It's mental.
Yeah.
See, I had a mate called Mark who liked playing cricket, right? And when I used to say to my mum, "Oh, I just want to go out with Mark and his dad to play cricket," and she never used to let me go. She'd go, "Oh, I prefer, you didn't." And I used to always think that, it's because it's a dangerous sport. You can get hit on the head by the ball and it's hard. Put an eye out or whatever. But it was because his dad used to drive us to the place to play cricket, and he had his eyelids were too big, so he used to have to sort of have his head right back.
like one of those old-fashioned dolls.
Right.
Where you can lean back.
They clunk back and clunk forward again.
And she didn't like me getting in a car with him.
Sorry, who's this? Whose eyelids are too big? Growing up, you had a woman who had her head like a bag of spuds.
But I didn't know her.
No, you had 2 kids at school with webbed hands and feet and big heads. Yeah. You had a pigeon chest boy.
Nowadays, you're walking around with insects and moths like something from James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, and you had a bloke whose eyelids were too big.
One thing I've noticed, that because I occasionally go to the gym, and those guys who work out constantly to give themselves extraordinary physiques, they're on the trip, they're on the weights, and they're really... I've noticed in the summer particularly, those guys cannot wait to get their shirts off.
Yeah.
Everywhere you see, they're walking around. If they've got a good torso, they are walking shirts off. Even, I think, if you go to nightclubs, I notice there's always one guy who's thinking, well, I have put so much work into this body, I have got to get my shirt off on the dance floor.
A vest, yeah.
And it comes straight off.
A brand new tattoo. I'm not covering that up.
Exactly.
I've paid a lot for it. Let's see it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what we were saying about bodies. I can't remember why we were talking about it. We've got to a point in science now that you can change your head. Right?
No, well, that doesn't make any sense at all.
It was a programme on... It was done in the 50s or 60s where they stuck a monkey's brain on a stick and had it wired up and it still worked, right?
Right, okay.
And that was in, like, the 60s or
right,
whatever.
okay. Well,
so,
to say to change your head makes no sense at all. Because if you put a different head on a different body, you're changing the body.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm about to say to you, though.
What?
That's what I'm saying. That I'd be more confident if I had someone else's body, because if anyone dissed it, I can go, no, it's bad, innit? But it's
what
not
are you
mine.
talking about?
Well, it's like, say...
As opposed to someone else's head?
Yeah. Well,
What,
it
you'd
wouldn't be me, would it? The head is me.
Well, of course it is, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
so
the
what do you
head's
mean?
me.
You'd be happy having someone else's body? What, than your own?
What I mean is, say if you're wandering about, for some reason, there's an incident, you have to take your top off and that, and everyone's looking at you, right? And you're a bit sort of, you haven't got the muscles and that, you haven't got the six-pack.
Right.
Which isn't that nice anyway. I don't know why that's become a nice thing, really, seeing the insides of you. You might as well... I mean, I know I came up with the see-through skin idea, but it's a bit weird, isn't it? You can see stuff.
No, it's the muscle in front of the...
No, it's not. Sometimes
it is.
you can see
It's not the
tubes.
outline of your
No,
organs.
you can't see tubes.
You can see tubes and veins and stuff.
Well, you can see veins.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see that. That's why we've got skin over it.
Well,
What I
stop
mean.
looking at naked men, then.
Why
I know,
you
but
keep-
sometimes you can't help it because it's been hot, and like you say, there's people walking about with vests on and that. So anyway, what I'm saying is, say if some incident happened, I'm walking about with my top off.
Right.
Girls are laughing at me, right?
Why?
Dunno, they might.
Yeah, go on. So they
So-
wouldn't look at your body, they'd all look at your head.
So what I mean is,
Yeah.
rewind that, right, and imagine all that happens again, but I've got someone else's body.
Right.
Whose
Right.
body?
Just some fella who's died, and my body was injured, and they said, we've got a new body in. You can
Right.
have it. We'll
Yeah.
stick your head on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, say if...
They're laughing at you.
they
laughing
are
at the body,
They're laughing
yeah.
at the body,
Yeah.
but at least I'd be able to sort of go, I know it's a mess, but it's not mine. At least I don't have to claim ownership.
So all of this extraordinary technology that can make put one head on another person's body is so you can go, it's not my body.
No.
But
And it's not your own.
I'm not being funny though. So if you have a body transplant, right, and you're at home,
Yeah.
naked, you look down,
Yeah.
lovely penis and a set of testicles,
Yeah.
right? What do you do with them?
What do you mean? What am I doing with them?
Well, do you like them?
Well, you wouldn't mess about with them as much as if they were your own.
But if you did mess about with them, would you feel guilty that you were messing about with another man's testicles and penis?
And it's the full body.
Yeah.
No, because they're not my hands either.
you're doing is watching someone else wank.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Karl has been doing over the past few months is writing his diary. He's kept that up. I don't know what he's had to write about. All he's been doing is looking at moths and ants and bees and going for walks. But I'm sure it's all in the diary. So, let's have a look at that. Oh, I don't believe he's only going to read it down the...
We went to the park and had a brew. Suzanne read the paper while I played with a ladybird. I mean, it's like a child, isn't it? It's like what a child would do.
Suzanne read the paper while I played with a ladybird. His only friend is a beetle.
It climbed up my arm. It struggled on me hairs.
This is in detail, then.
Yeah. It kept stopping every now and then, and was rubbing its head with its right arm. It did it about 4 times, and always used its right arm. It rested for about 5 minutes, then flew off. Sunday. Had a bit of a to-do with Suzanne, 'cause she wanted a line today. I hate this. Once you're awake, you should get up. I got up and put the radio on really loud. She eventually got up. I told her insects don't have lines, so we shouldn't.
Why are you obsessed with insects?
You must be fucking unbearable to live with. You must be a nightmare.
No, I've just started, because I've watched insects a lot. I don't want to keep going on about them, because we're a bit insect heavy. But at the end of the day, if we copied insects, we wouldn't go far wrong.
I don't know what you mean, though. 1 minute you're saying they're great, then the next minute you'll slag them off.
Yeah, I'll slag some of them off if I don't know what they're doing, but because I've studied them a bit longer, I just think they do it right.
You haven't studied them, though.
He thinks he's like Darwin.
But you just slagged them off when you go, don't you think that insects are doing stuff? They're not. It goes there, then it goes back again.
The ant was messing about, but only that one. The others were carrying stuff. That's what I'm saying. There's snidey ones in everything. In everything in the world, you get a hierarchy.
Oh, long words!
Ooh. The bookshelf was dusty, so Suzanne asked me to dust it if I get a minute. I ended up looking at every book.
Just the spine.
Yeah.
Just for a few seconds each. Yeah. Didn't open them.
I looked in the dictionary to see if the word dictionary would be in the dictionary. I didn't think they would bother with it being on the front page, but it was in the book as well.
It's a good point, though, isn't it?
No, it's not a good point, because you didn't tell us anything.
Dictionary is in the dictionary.
Well, of course it is.
Well, why? If you go, how do you spell dictionary, you look at the spine and you go, oh, there it is, D-I-C-T, and all that.
So what does dictionary mean?
It's a book full of words, isn't it?
That's what it means. All books are full of words, you idiot.
How to spell them. And if you don't know
No,
what
it's
it
not
is...
how to spell them.
Alright, then we'll...
I'll just look up something. No. It's not a book full of words to tell us what... No. It's the meaning.
Give us
It's
the definition of
definitive
dictionary.
meaning.
It's a book full of words if you want to know what the meanings are. But if you didn't know
Well,
that...
sorry, what was that sentence?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you didn't know that, then you wouldn't be looking in it, because you wouldn't know the book is about that. So, if you don't know the word dictionary and what it means, you wouldn't be looking at the dictionary, you'd be looking at an A to Z. Because you
Why
go,
leave it out, though?
Just because there's so many words in the world, I would have thought they wanted to cram as much as they can on a page, and if dictionary is already on the front...
Is that why you suddenly used the word hierarchy for the first time ever? Did you find that in there?
Did you see hierarchy in the dictionary?
I feel that big
was.
word has pushed out about 26 other more useful ones.
Yeah.
No, well, Suzanne's been going on about me learning another language. But I sort of think your brain has only got so much room, hasn't it?
And the rest of it's filled with lard.
So, if I've got to learn everything I know, again, but in a different language, it's taking up space, isn't it?
You don't learn everything. Oh, God.
It's all
What do you mean?
storage, isn't it?
But you don't have to learn it again. You don't have to learn the concepts again. You're merely
Do you know how
learning
many
vocabulary.
moves there are in the human brain? You don't worry, you won't use them all up.
I feel that he has reached his capacity, though.
Yeah. Well, you need another sort of... You need an update. You need some more memory.
Woke up to some interesting news. It's good when this happens because it sets me up for the day ahead. If it's miserable news, it affects my day. It said on the news that they have found 2 new flies.
Fucking hell, more insects! What have you done? Is that all you've done this summer?
Bong.
Just
Trouble in the Middle East. Bong. 2 new flies found.
Ladybird climbs up arm.
They were found in the UK and they were found close to each other. Maybe this happened because they were different than the other flies and weren't expected to hang about together, so that's why they knocked about with each other.
That would happen, wouldn't it?
What do you mean?
It's two new flies.
What do you mean? Does it mean there are two new flies that are a different species?
Yeah, two new species, and they found them close to each other, right?
Yeah,
and
but they didn't mean there was one of each.
No. Yeah, they did. They found two different ones.
No,
they have. Seriously, I know that. That's right. That's a fact. So you've got, like, I don't know the names of them. They give them odd names, don't they? Well, say,
Yeah.
call it A and Fly B, right?
Yeah.
Fly A, I don't know. Say that's orange.
This is just...
B,
Fly B, yeah.
No,
This is
but,
painful.
No, but
This
I'm
is
just
painful.
making it easier
But
for
Fly B
you.
wears
Okay.
a little hat. He's got a little hat.
Alright, yeah, fine. Now, they found the orange one and went, look at this over here. This is a bit weird. And they've gone, oh, that's a new species. Log it, whatever. And then the other one went, oh, keep your pen handy. Look at this one, it's got a hat on. So then they found them both within the same distance.
I don't know what that sentence means.
Keep going.
They
No,
found
let him
them
try and
both.
finish.
They found them both within the same distance.
But without interrupting him, let him finish this point.
Let me just make one thing clear. Karl Pilkington just said they found them both within the same distance. Think of that!
Don't know what it means, but go on, let him finish this point.
So what I mean is, they weren't knocking about with other normal houseflies because they were probably sort of going, oh, he's a bit weird. Leave it. Yet, because the other one was also odd, they're hanging about with each other. Don't you understand that? Why is that such an odd concept?
Because you think of it as like two little new kids in school.
Yeah.
They find out they're both new and they've got something in
Yeah,
common.
they're both goths, so they start hanging out together.
Yeah.
And this was on the news, was it?
Yeah, just on the radio, yeah.
I know if I looked into that story, it would be 90% wrong.
Bit tired today, because didn't get to sleep as early as I wanted due to a moth getting in the bedroom.
Fuck me!
I got it in a glass and looked at it for a bit and then let it go because Suzanne wanted to go to sleep. Looked up some interesting news. Some people dug up an old body in Ireland. Turns out it's well old and was here when dinosaurs were here. The really weird bit is it had hair gel in its hair.
Right, what is it?
A fella.
Well, no, it wasn't around when dinosaurs were here then.
Just a bit after.
Right, fine. A lot after, yeah, go on. I think any hominid, anything that could even be linked to anything that may become man, is only about 1 million years old, and I think Homo sapien is probably only about 150,000 years old. Dinosaurs are about 150 million to 250 million.
Yeah, no, it's not the age bit, that's amazing. It's the fact of, there's a fella, won't have even had shoes on his feet,
Right.
and yet he was worried about his hairstyle.
Right, well that's definitely not true either. This is unbelievable.
Well, there was a man on the radio doing poetry, says Karl in his diary. I thought I'd have a go at doing a poem about today.
Not really. Steve, I'm a little bit queasy. He hasn't really written a poem.
He's written a small poem.
No, he hasn't really.
Yes. If moths had eyes...
Fuck me!
Let me read the poem, okay?
Oh, fuck.
You wouldn't interrupt T.S. Eliot.
Okay. Oh, okay.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
Right. It may be the greatest poem
Now,
ever written.
just you know, dissecting it briefly, you attempt to rhyme in the first 4 lines, but abandon the rhyming system in the last 3. Is there a creative decision for that?
Can we have Karl read that?
By all
Sorry,
means, yeah.
just you read it as you would like to. So this is imagine this, right? Okay, this is going out all over the world. This podcast, and now Karl Pilkington, a new poet from Manchester, now living in London, England, would like to read a poem.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
He said it as though the last bit was going to rhyme. He said it like it was going to rhyme. Oh, God.
No,
it's amazing. It's amazing.
I think he feels as though the final line, I'd rather be a blind moth, is going to be one of those great, you know, a summation that somehow the moth is a metaphor, the caveman.
No, but
there's
all
no
I'm doing-
metaphor in that. He really does mean he'd rather be a blind moth.
Yeah, well, I'm just because I've looked at the day's news.
Can we always do that, Carl? Can we always find a day, right, and always sum it up in your thoughts, a poem? Just like that. I love that structure. I love that structure. If there's any English students or professors or novelists or poets listening, please email us what they thought of that poem, why it's good, why it's bad. So, you know, give us your thoughts on that. I mean, we would love expert opinion, poets, English professors. Just email us at podcast@rickygervais.com. Now, Carl, apart from being a poet, you are an author now. You've written a book. You know, which surprised me and Steve, because as Steve said, we thought you'd read a book before you actually wrote one, but you've proved us wrong, and all your teachers wrong, and everyone in the world who thinks you're an idiot. It is actually a very good book. I mean, a lot of it is transcripts from, you know, the podcasts, but you've answered some of your critics, haven't you? And you've tried to prove some of your theories. It's everything about Carl. It is like
All the drawings.
All the drawings. There's new stories, isn't there? I mean, there's so much effort. I can't believe it. He's been working on it for months, and it's out on the 18th of September. But you can order it now, can't you, on Amazon.com and Amazon.co.uk.
What's that book called?
It's called The World of Karl Pilkington. Well, thanks very much. Goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais. Goodbye from Stephen Merchant.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from the little hollow, egg-headed moron that is Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Well, episode 2 of season 3 of the Ricky Gervais Show, with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello there.
And Karl Pilkington.
All right.
What's been going on? What's been going on?
I've been to hospital. I was rushed to hospital, like emergency and that. Had a tube put up my knob.
You had a tube put up your knob?
Yeah.
What's the story?
Kidney stones.
Ooh.
So, shouldn't really be here, to be honest, doing this. He said rest. And that. Climbing them stairs on the way in.
To be quite honest, it doesn't look like you're expending a lot of energy at the moment. It's like at Zookeeper going, oh, that sloth move today. Calm down.
Yeah, but I had to get here. It's been raining.
Yeah.
I had to come up the stairs. I had to carry the computer.
Yeah.
Well, that's not entirely true, because your girlfriend was carrying it. I saw her outside.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
And then you handed it to me and said, Steve, carry this.
Almighty.
Yeah, I know.
That's already a lie.
Christ almighty. Whinging.
Not whinging.
I'm in show business. I know loads of people that wake up every day with a sore knob, feeling like they've had their kidneys probed, and they would say they were unconscious. So they don't whinge about it. They get straight back onto it. They, you know, a lot of them on TV now.
Yeah, straight back to hosting game shows.
So you're rushed to hospital.
So take us through the events, because it does sound quite dramatic. You started feeling a bit of pain, did you, initially?
Felt a bit of pain, and I thought, you know, maybe I just pulled a muscle or something when I've been wrestling with Ricky and that, because you don't know what damage has been done. So I just think, oh, it'll go in a minute, and then it didn't. It got a bit badder.
It got badder, did it?
So then I thought, I was crippled. I was lying on the floor in agony, looking on the internet, looking for sort of
still
solutions.
looking at Monkey News.
No, I just put in like bellyache and stuff, and they were saying it can be loads of different things. And what I used to do when I was a kid, I used to always just get a cold ashtray and put that on my belly, and the coldness used to get rid of the badness.
Amazing.
The coldness got me.
Well, like a witch doctor.
Yeah.
This is like
a witch doctor happens to work in a pub.
It's like some sort of 5th century remedy, written in mud.
Yeah.
Coldness doth get away with the badness.
Why specifically an ashtray?
Just because they sort of old cold.
They're old cold.
I
What?
don't know what this is. I love this idea that he had the operation and he comes round and they're talking to him and his girlfriend gets a phone call and they say, Mr. Pilkington's maybe complications. He's just talking rubbish.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, good.
Yeah, he's back to his old self. What, why specifically an ashtray? Sorry, because it's old cold. I understand it's old cold.
Oh yeah, we understand. Everyone who's done a medical degree understands old cold, but old cold belly madness. If you want to buy that book, Old Cold Belly Madness, it's the history of abdominal surgery by Karl Pilkington.
No, it just, you know,
but do you put it in the freezer or something first?
You can do if you want, but they're normally cold anyway. Sort of thick glass and that, it holds the cold. But we don't smoke in our house, so I had to use a plate.
Oh, well, that's madness. A plate's not going to work. Famously, a plate doesn't work.
No! Oh,
So you put a plate on your belly, but that didn't do any...
No,
That didn't work, so called Suzanne and said, oh, I'm in agony here. She said, go to the doctors then.
Good advice.
So
a lot of people have done that straight away, as opposed to going through the plate ashtray.
So he got into hospital, and he went to hospital and he said, have you got an ashtray?
Yeah. They went, no, especially an ashtray.
This is no smoking.
So anyway, so then we get in a cab and what have you, go there. I have an X-ray.
His voice is even more boring than usual,
Extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah.
Fuck me.
And they put me on a drip and everything. Give me some morphine and stuff. And found out that I had kidney stones. So that's why I was in hospital. And they get them out by... I don't know what's gone on, to be honest. I've got some tube inside me. From my kidney to my bladder. That's helping me stuff get about.
And so there's a little tube up the end of your knob into your...
Yeah, it's not there now, it's high up.
Right.
So it's high up between my kidney and my bladder.
But why didn't you have the thing where they go in the side? You had the choice to...
Because I said to the doctor, I said, I'm not a doctor. I said, what do you think...
He went, stop putting yourself down, Carl.
He said,
we need you in the operating theatre now.
He just said, you know, I said to him, what should I have done? Because he said, if you want, go home, and we'll get you in again or something. Something like that. And I said, no, I might as well have it done properly. Have it done now whilst I'm here.
Sorry, the choice was have it done properly or go home.
It was something like that. He said there's something you can do, and I said, oh,
flush it out.
No, because it's too big. It's something like 7mm.
And it's basically because you don't drink enough water.
Yeah. So anyway, I said, what do you think I should have done? And he said, tube up the knob. And I said, not my favourite one of the choice, but if that's what you think. So he said, yeah, have that. He did me little diagrams, which didn't help. He was like showing...
How big did he draw your knob?
Sort of normal size.
Yeah? Was it?
It was alright.
You weren't offended by them?
But he went into detail. It's just, you know, more the tube and stuff in your bladder and your kidney.
What was your ball bag like? Did he draw that?
He didn't do that bit. He left that bit out.
Okay, right.
But he said, we'll just pop that up there. And then that's when Ricky turned up to visit. Came in laughing at me because we sat there in like me underpants and stockings.
In stockings?
Yeah.
Why were you dressed
He was there. No, he wasn't in bed. He was sort of out of bed with his little drip, right? He had his little boxer shorts on, just sat there, right, in his pants, right, and he had stockings on.
Yeah, because they stop clots or something. They put them on your legs. It's like, you know, when people have got big veins and they go on a plane.
Right. Yeah.
You said you're not a doctor.
No, but I've seen it because Suzanne's mum did it, and she put them on ridiculously early, like 3 days before we were going away, and she'd never been away before, and everything was like over the top. Do you know what I mean? She was like, I best put them on. And so I put them on, and they like, I don't know what it is. It's something when you're under, your blood doesn't move about the same,
right? And
it can clot up in your leg. So you wear these tight tights.
And I came in to cheer him up, didn't I?
Yeah. Was that a nice cheery experience, him coming in?
I had a headache at the time. I think I was a bit stressed out.
Well, he's just the man you want at that point.
Yeah.
He reassured you, I imagine.
Well, it's weird how it suddenly all happened quick. It was like as soon as he came in, it's like they got the finger out. And when I say
not
that,
literally,
I mean, suddenly I was being rushed down to, you know, have me stuff done. And I woke up and there was an Irish woman over me going, "Are you all right? You all right?" And I said, "Oh, it's stinging a bit." She said, "I'll give you some more morphine." And I sort of put my head up to have a look at my tackle because I wanted to see
If it was still there.
what was attached to it. Do you know what I mean? Because they said something about they might leave some string hanging out of it so they can pull the tube out.
It makes you talk.
So, I had a look for that. Couldn't see any of that.
Yeah.
But as you put the morphine in, all the muscles in your body go funny. My head just collapsed.
Your head collapsed.
Yeah, I sort of looked up to look at my stuff, but then she said, "Oh, you just need a little bit of morphine," and she put that in, and I just sort of went, oof. And then they sent me home about 2 hours after. But I'm in agony now, and
Are you in agony right now as we speak?
yeah, certain.
Now, are you a man who's had this kind of hospital experience before? Is this your whole first time?
I don't go do it to hospitals and stuff because I don't like them messing about. But it does make you think now. Do you know what I mean? Like life and everything. I mean, it's weird how it's all happened in the last month. From seeing that bee sort of die.
No,
Well, not really.
No. This is not a near-death experience.
It is
You
a
had a
little bit.
routine operation to remove kidney stones because you don't drink enough water.
No, I know, but
This is not a shark attack.
yeah, but it's all life-threatening. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to fill out forms, would you? Saying if everything goes wrong, Suzanne can have the house or whatever. And then you find out more about the body as well, which has been sort of doing me head in a bit. You're more aware of stuff in your body, which I don't like knowing about.
Yeah.
They keep checking your heartbeats and stuff, and your blood pressure. I don't like knowing about that. I just like leave it. It's happening. Don't be messing with it. Stop measuring it.
Stop measuring it!
No, do you know what I mean?
That's the same with a knob.
It's that thing of like they put that thing
That's what
on.
the anaesthetist was doing when you were under, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was comparing the diagram to the actual thing.
Oh, God.
The fella across the way from me had the same thing as me, but he'd had it a couple of days ago when he was in agony. So that doesn't help when he's saying, "Oh, I've been to hell and back." Like, don't tell me that.
Sure.
I don't want to know. Just say it was all right and stuff. So it just the whole thing of a hospital is stressful. You know what I mean? They wake you up like every half an hour in the night, saying, "How do you feel?" It's like, "Well, what? You know, it's 3:30. What are you doing?" I've got to have it done again in a couple of weeks because what they've done now, they've popped that straw up, but the stone's still in there because they didn't have the laser team in with them. Blast the stone, and then that time they're probably going to leave a little bit of string out the end. Then I have to go about 3 days later and they pull it out. Tell you what though, when you are because when you're in hospital, you've got a lot of time just to sit there and think about stuff. And what I was thinking about is, what is the closest thing sort of living that's nothing?
I don't know what you mean.
What?
What's like the closest, like, do you know at some point something's gone from nothing to something? Hasn't it?
No, I don't understand what you mean.
Something, at some point people were nothing, and then something happened and they were something. Do you know what I mean?
But they were never nothing, were they?
Do you mean what is the first and lowest and most primitive and most simple form of life?
No,
He's right here in this room, Rick.
say like when you look at a stick insect,
Right.
you go, right, there's a slight crossover there from a stick to a living thing.
No, it's not.
It didn't used to be a stick.
No, it's not. There's no biological relationship between it and a stick.
But there isn't much difference between the two, is what I mean.
Of course there is.
It's a
There
huge
isn't.
difference.
They just sit there looking like a stick. That's their skill.
Yes, but there's nothing to do with being a stick. It's like camouflage. That's like saying when a soldier puts on combat gear, you're saying he's a cross between a human and a shrub. He's not a cross between a human and a shrub.
No,
is he?
but that's man-made
From a distance
stuff.
you can't see him. That's the same as the stick
No,
insect.
but that isn't what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, have you seen them weird things that just look like they sort of look like a leaf?
Yeah, they're insects that have evolved to look like a leaf. So a bird thinks, oh, there's no tea there.
No,
That's
but
not a juicy insect. It's a leaf. I don't eat
Yeah,
leaves.
but at
Forget
some
it.
point, something has had it away with a leaf.
No.
What?
At no point has something had it away with a leaf.
No, to make it look that much like a
No.
leaf.
At no point did a beetle shag a leaf. There's nothing on a genetic level or molecular level, anything to do with it having anything to do with a stick or a leaf. It's superficial. It's the way it looks. That's all it That's like saying chameleons must have mated with green once. They are green.
No, but
it looks like a leaf.
What I don't understand is
it has evolved to blend in perfectly with its surroundings and fool predators.
But then how does it meet? How does it have relationships? It will be going around sort of having it away with a leaf.
No, it won't, because it doesn't know what it looks like. It doesn't matter. They do it with pheromones and attraction, and it's not like they, a stick insect will be talking to a stick for ages and go, "Oh, I've wasted my time here. This club's dead." Rude.
I was chatting to her. She was foxy, but she was giving me nothing.
But Dave, that's not a stick insect. That's a stick.
What are you talking about?
That's a stick. You've been talking to a stick all night.
I can't believe it. I just thought she had a great slim figure.
No, it's actually a real stick.
But I've been reading a lot about, I like spiders and stuff. Just reading about them. And there's one, right? It's got big legs.
Yeah.
Doesn't use them. It goes around floating in the air on a bit of webbage. Like a kite.
He just took a gamble then, didn't he? He took a gamble. He thought, do you know what? I'm going to go with webbage. Don't know if it's a word, not sure, but I could just say web, and I'm going to go with webbage. I'm going to risk it. And it didn't pay off, did it?
Webbage! Webbage!
But that's how it gets about. It's in the air like a kite.
Yeah.
And it's just floating about.
I've seen one, yeah.
So, that's what I'm saying about weirdness. The way all that goes on, and this is what I can't get my head round.
You have got your head round.
But do they get ill then?
He's just, for those listening at home, he has just bumped his head against the microphone.
Trying to mate with it because it's perfectly round, this microphone.
No, but when I was, this is what I'm saying, when I was in hospital and stuff, you do think about how others live, because insects don't have operations. Are they built better than us to survive in this world?
The trap you seem to fall into again and again and again is you cannot conceive of the fact that insects and animals do not have consciousness and personality and communication. They do not function in the way that humans do. You've seen so many Disney cartoons, you believe them now to have a life and wear bowler hats and go to work. But just in the same way that the cavemen didn't have Flintstone-type cars and have a little house,
but
you can't seem to understand that animals don't work in that way.
But what I mean is, you're saying that no animals or insects know anything, yet when you see them things on nature programmes where a load of ants are having a walk, there's always one at the front who's leading it all. So one of them's got to know something.
First. Or there are leaders in.
Yeah, but the other ants are going follow him.
No, they're not. They're not. They're not vocalising that in any sense that you understand it. No, they're not saying
follow him, but they sort of look as if to sort of say, I'm going this way.
Without cognitive
speaking.
reasoning.
It's not made a conscious decision to act in that way.
Yeah, but this is when
if a raindrop falls on a bird's beak and it moves away because instinctively it's hardwired to be wary of things which drop on its beak in case it's dangerous. It's not thinking, oh crumbs, I better get out of the way. It just does it because it's somehow hardwired into it to act that way. But it doesn't stop for a moment and think. Which we don't really, except we then are able to rationalise our fears and our actions.
Well, I've been watching birds more than insects recently.
Oh, okay, you moved on from
insects. In the last week, just because I've sort of looked at the ant and the bee and that. And what I've found with pigeons is, they've got wings, yet they walk a lot.
I'd love that to be a thesis where he got like a £500,000 grant from a university, and I said, well, Pilkington seems to, he's done ants and he's done bees, he's followed ants. Apparently they're not doing anything, some of them are lazy. We are granting him another £500,000. He's been working on it for a year. Please welcome Karl Pilkington.
Karl, what have you found?
Well, even though pigeons have wings, they walk a lot.
No, but even in times of danger, one was crossing the road and a car was coming, and you'd think that its head would say, let's start flying. Yet it just walked faster.
Well,
what's he doing?
It was doing stuff, wasn't it? It saved a bit of energy. Takes a lot to take off, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's either that or you're going to get crushed.
Use the energy. It didn't get crushed, did it?
No, I don't think it did, no.
There you go, they knew what it was doing, didn't it?
Yeah, it just annoyed me, that's all. It's got a got a power, and it's not.
Power! They're all superpowered, these animals.
But that's why he thinks of the stick insect as like that. You mentioned earlier, that's its power, that's its skill. Like Spider-Man was bitten by a radioactive spider, and now he can solve crimes and swing with webbage, using his webbage. Whereas, yeah, stick insects is not. It's not a superpower.
But say if everything was at the same size as us, what would be the best thing to be? Say like a tarantula.
Yeah.
And a tiger. What would happen there?
A 15-stone tiger versus a 15-stone tarantula.
Yeah.
Well, I'd imagine the 15-stone tarantula.
Right, so it's just weird that, innit? It's a good job that they're small. Yet things are getting bigger because we're messing with the world.
But it's a ridiculous thing to say, isn't it? Because what would it eat? 15 stone. Well, it wouldn't happen anyway, because insects have insects and arachnids and invertebrate arthropods in general, they have a critical mass, because they haven't got lungs. They breathe through things in their side called spiracles, and if it gets too big, the surface to volume ratio isn't big enough to allow it enough oxygen. So the biggest you'll find is like a foot-long beetle or somewhat weird
it's
like
big
that.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's about as big as they get.
So
I wouldn't worry about it.
Again, based on nothing, he queries you.
And also, it's not a case that one that'll be born too big and can't breathe. It won't happen. That's why they're only that big, because
But it's
that
like
restriction.
fish, isn't it? How they say about a goldfish.
Yeah.
That thing about a woman who went on holiday and stuck it in a bath.
Mm.
She came back, it was 7 foot.
Right, that didn't happen.
No, that's a well-known thing about
No, it's not a
goldfish.
well-known
When's
thing.
it what?
I'll tell you why. Because a fish will only grow to its surroundings anyway. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
you have
It's
to put it in a bigger tank.
Yeah, in a bath.
No, a 7-foot fish in a bath. It just fit the bath exactly, did it?
When she got back off holiday...
Don't talk shit.
It's
What
a
was it
well-known-
eating? What was it eating?
How long was she gone for? 2 million years?
yeah. She went to Mars and back.
Yeah.
It's just that fish are weird, aren't they?
Well, no, there's no,
Again.
that's a bollocks story. Once again,
No,
I don't
what-
know where you've heard it or read it.
It's a
or
well-known story.
a 7-foot goldfish in your bath.
But, no, fish are weird.
Ted,
like
you're
that.
not going to believe this. Come up here.
Well, how many fish do you see that have naturally died? That's the weird thing.
What do you mean?
Just ping-ponging around these ideas in your mind.
You just never see fish sort of just floating about in the water and you go, oh, died of old age. It's always been caught by a man or a shark's at it. You don't just see dead fish washed up, do you? When you think of the
Sometimes.
amount of fish... No, when you think of the amount of fish that are in the sea, there's loads of them, and yet you never...
Because they're eaten
walk
straight
down
away.
That's what I'm saying, though. Are they eaten when they're dead, or are they just being eaten?
Well, most things that don't die of old age.
Yeah, that's weird, though, isn't it?
Well, no, because it's it's a jungle out there.
Yeah, no, that's why I said I wouldn't want to live in the sea. Because you've got to
Are
be
you
on-
sure you're not on morphine as we speak?
No, but in the sea, you've got to be constantly sort of alert, haven't you?
Yeah,
amount
but
of
that's
stuff.
true of all animals.
No, worse than the sea. The sea is like full of... you've got an enemy round every rock.
I love it! I love it! It's like a warning to crabs
Exactly.
and young squid. It's like the policeman that comes into your school.
Yeah.
What advice would you give? Okay then, what advice would you give?
Some plankton.
Now, what advice would you give a 2-week-old octopus?
And what am I? Am I an octopus?
No,
you're
you're
yourself.
you. We've sort of set it up that it can understand you with some sort of one of your inventions to talk to the animals. One of your brilliant inventions is just a watch you strap on its tentacle and it can understand human talk. I'm sure you'll come up with that one day. What do you say to it? What would you say to an octopus, a young octopus who wants to set out by himself in the sea?
Stay close to the rocks. And just let it know about the thing about it can get into a small space. You know, if you look at an hole, don't go, oh, I can't get in there. And sort of squash it and show itself. I can roll it into a ball and sort of say, look at that. Is that hurting?
I love the fact that the drugs make no difference. It's like there's no difference. Oh God!
Because that's the only thing that's got in it. It's boneless. So
that's its special power.
That's what it can do. You can roll it up, and as long as it knows that. But that's the problem with a lot of powers, isn't it? That's the same thing about how people say don't have a go at bees because they're not like wasps. They don't sting you because once they sting you, they die. That doesn't know that, does it?
It's also not true, but yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't know, so it's not like the bees going around going, I'm not going to sting you because I'll die if I do.
What's your point there? I don't understand.
I'm just saying...
We shouldn't dislike bees.
Well, how do these creatures know what to do?
Instinct.
I suppose it's like that story you told me about the scorpion, innit? It's that, innit?
What, the scorpion and the frog?
Yeah.
What, the fable?
Yeah. What was it? It was a frog
the scorpion needed to get across a river, and it said to a frog, can you give me a lift? And the frog said, well, no, of course not, because you'll sting me. You're a scorpion. And he goes, well, no, why would I do that? If I sting you and I'm in the water and you drown, I drown. And the frog went, good point. So the frog gives him a piggyback, going across the river, halfway across, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog's dying. And the frog's going, no, I'm going to die, and you're going to die. So why did you do that? And the scorpion said, because I'm a scorpion. What do you think that was meant to point out?
Just sort of be careful who you help.
No. It's meant to point out that you are what you are. You are your nature.
No, but it's also that thing of like...
I'm telling you, it's nothing to do with
if
what the frog was...
If you're driving and someone's hitchhiking, don't pick them up because...
No, it's nothing to do with the mentality or the reasoning or the anything to do with the frog at all. The point of it.
Well, I don't know, I think Aesop was thinking a lot about the hitchhiking problem.
It wouldn't happen. That's the problem with a lot of them fables. They're putting animals together that wouldn't meet.
Oh, whereas insects go around shagging leaves.
Well, insects are with the leaves, whereas I don't know where a scorpion is knocking around with a frog. I mean, there's that weird one I remember
He's
watching.
Annoyed.
I remember hearing something about this lizard that sort of gets pally with the scorpions, even though they're not mates, they don't get on. But they've kind of got this agreement that the scorpion can live in their house if they guard it. And there's the local people used to stick their hands down these holes and get the lizards to make slippers out of them. And the lizards were getting sick of this. And I think somehow something happened where the lizards thought, look, enough's enough. We'll let you sleep in our den if you stand by the door. So the scorpion used to like stand by the door and stay awake at night whilst the lizard's having a kip. Fella comes along wanting to make some new slippers, puts his hand down the hole, scorpion gets him. Now that's what's weird with that two enemies have worked together.
It's called a symbiotic relationship. But at no point did they sit down and go, right, what we're going to do? I'll tell you what, I'll give you shelter. You give me that sting in case there's a fella who wants to make slippers. Because all this happened way before people were making slippers.
But isn't it weird, though? Because people, there's nothing that happens like that in people, is there?
Of course there is.
What, like that, where you don't get on but you work with them?
Of course there is.
What?
Loads of business relationships. What do you mean?
No, but
Team
normally
up,
you
even though
stay...
they're
What I mean is you
essentially
stay
enemies.
away. If someone's being a bit weird...
Loads of examples where you might go, well, I hate to do it, but my only option is to go with X, Y and Z.
But what I'm saying is, though, let me just finish.
Go on.
I live in an area where, you know, I sort of know a lot of the locals, and there's a local woman who's a bit mad. Now, I know her, but I choose to sort of stay away because it scares you a bit, doesn't it, when something's like that and it's unpredictable. So, you know, when I was in the little corner shop, she came in, right? She screams a lot, just screams for the sake of it, and you don't know if she's upset or if she's just doing it for attention. Then the scream will go from screaming to laughing. So you're like, oh, what's going on? And it was like rush hour. It was like rush hour time in this shop, and she chose to go in then, and she doesn't work, so it was like, why is she coming in now? She's had all day to go in. She just picked the busy time, and she was like about 3 places in front of me, and she was only buying a Yorkie and some earbuds, right? And I thought,
A Yorkie and some earbuds?
yeah, and I thought, what's the rush? You've come at the wrong time, and you bought stuff that could have waited. You should never have to rush out for a Yorkie or an earbud, is what I'm saying, right? And I ended up sort of going, I can't stand this, and I left. Now, that was me being like I would expect the scorpion to be, or the lizard.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
I have
I don't know where
idea.
okay, what do you mean?
No, I'm just saying how, like, I chose that woman could be dangerous, so I'll leave her to it. And that's where nature kicks in. And you go, I don't want to be here. I don't know what she's going to do. She's unpredictable. I'll pop back later. And then, I look out, I can see the shop. I saw her go, and she was, like, laughing to herself again and trying to climb up some ladders. And I thought, once she's gone, I'll nip back. I don't know what my point was. I don't know.
Oh, he's only got to reel it down.
That's the jingle for Carl's diary. We had bacon and egg on toast. I'm eager to get through the brown sauce, as the bottle is too big to go in any cupboard, so it has to be left on the sideboard. So I had about 4 dollops of the stuff. I love that made it into the diary. He's concerned about the fact that brown sauce is too big, so he's rushing through it.
I know, but I'm just saying the kitchen isn't that big, and it looks messy when you leave stuff out, doesn't it? And we've got this giant brown sauce bottle, and I don't want to chuck it away because that'd be a waste.
So you're having brown sauce and everything, your cornflakes,
yeah.
in your tea.
Yeah.
A wasp got in the flat. You know trouble's brewing. It was massive. The biggest wasp ever. Suzanne asked me to get it out, but I wanted to take a picture of it first. I was getting my phone ready when it flew at me. I reckon the sting on it could have killed a kitten.
So specific.
It ended up flying out the window on its own. Drama averted.
Oh, God.
We went out for tea. You're always in a cafe. That's what this diary. You spend so much time in a cafe. There were loads of flying ants. I kept kicking the table because I could feel them on my legs. I wouldn't be that jumpy normally, but I still had flashbacks of the giant wasp from the morning. Suzanne told me to stop being stupid because I was ruining her night out.
A night out in a cafe. Brilliant. Oh,
what was it, her birthday?
And flashbacks from an incident.
Yeah.
Like he's some sort of, like, war veteran. What is it? It's the wasp. It could have killed a kitten.
Bought some wallpaper. We got back and got on with it. The wall that we've papered before has got a big mirror under it. We papered on top of it again. I ended up reading my phrase book while Suzanne did the rest of the tidying up. Now, what's your phrase book? This is just you trying to master English, is it?
It's just a book that tells you little sayings and how they came about.
An interesting phrase is potluck. It came about when all people ate is stews. They used to chuck all sorts of stuff into the stew. You stuck your spoon in, and sometimes you got something nice like beef, or you could end up with a bit of frog. It's potluck.
Good, that, isn't it?
That's what it said in the book, did it?
A bit of frog.
Got up and checked the wallpaper out. There are loads of air bumps and it's buckled on the joins. I wish we'd never done it. Suzanne said the washer was broke and it's out of its warranty. She called up the people who made it and they said it will cost £150 to fix. I don't know how they know that when they haven't even seen it. I want to smash it to bits and see what they can do for £150. So much anger.
I want to smash it to bits. That'd be great, wouldn't it? 150, you sure?
Yeah,
Come round.
Yeah.
And it's just like a cube that's been through one of those car crushers.
Yeah.
150 quid, there's 150 quid, fix it.
I watched the news and calmed down a bit, because there was a story about some Siamese twins who are having an operation. They've got 2 heads, 4 arms, 2 legs, 1 liver. The doctor said they will have 1 leg each. I felt bad worrying about the washer when people have bigger problems like the Siamese twins. Ricky and Steve asked me to do a poem about 1 day a week, so I thought I'd do one today. I can't obviously do it justice, I should let the master read it.
You've done another poem?
Yeah, you said, just do one. If you have a day where you've had a lot of emotions.
Well, I loved the poem, and so did the listeners, and I knew they would, so if you can do that every week, that'd be a joy for me.
You can't force a poem, though.
No, I know.
So a diary's easy to do, because you just write down what you're doing.
But
Yeah.
you've got to have some really meaty subject matter to be able to write a poem, Rick, as you'll discover.
I know.
Right, so, you know, you've heard what problems they had that day.
Go on then.
Bubbled wallpaper. What a mess. Washer, dry and knackered. What a mess. Siamese twins separated. One leg less.
I don't know what rhyming scheme that is again. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, fuck me. Well, there you go. That's the end of episode 2 of series 3 of the Ricky Gervais Show. More next week. More drivel, more diary. Another poem, I hope.
Maybe.
Just more news and stuff. From me, Ricky Gervais, Steve Merchant.
Goodbye.
And Karl Pilkington.
Right.
Pablo Picasso once stated, "We all know that art is not truth. Art is a lie that makes us realise truth." From painting and poetry to symphonies and sculpture, the arts bring beauty and illumination to some, confusion and frustration to others. But what is art? The idea of a work of art, created by an artist, did not truly exist before the Renaissance. And what value do the arts still have? Do they still make us realise the truth, or are they increasingly rarefied and obsolete in this digital, disposable age? With me to discuss the wide spectrum of the arts are Stephen Merchant, graduate of the University of Warwick and award-winning writer.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Karl Pilkington, a man with no qualifications, very little education, but who is now known the world over as a man with a head like a fucking orange.
Alright.
Well, I suppose if I can pick up on something from your introduction, Ricky, you posed the question, in a sense, what is art? It's a very broad term.
It's a very difficult one as well. I think the earliest people to ponder it were the Greeks, and I think they thought that art was, and its point, was to try and emulate as close as possible the beauty of nature. So they knew art was a sort of, you know, a quest for beauty, and I suppose they thought nature was pretty perfect in its aesthetic, and so the point of an artist was to try and tap into that.
Well, let me throw that question over to Karl Pilkington.
What do you want to know?
Well, we were just trying to clarify what art is. Ricky's just referring back to the Greeks.
It's just something for your eyes to look at.
Right.
It's just a change from the norm, innit? I mean, that's why I think most people have it. But then, the problem is, I'd never buy a piece of art. I don't see the point in buying something, because I know that my eyes will get bored of it eventually.
Right.
So it's better to keep it in a museum, like a lot of places, you know, a lot of museums keep the stuff, they rotate it, because people get sick of looking at it. They shift the art around, don't they? People go, I'm sick of that now. They move it around the world, let someone else's eyes look at it.
Well, that's more to get everyone the chance to see it, as opposed to the people who looked at it once and now sick of it.
Oh, not the shitting Mona Lisa again. If
No,
I
but
have to
how many
stare at
times
that
can you
little
look at the
bitch.
same thing? I think there's a snobbery with art. I think people do go,
Well, I
have you
think
seen
that-
the new one at the Louvre? Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I think
it's
there should
lovely.
be a snobbery with art.
Why?
Because the world is full of idiots. And just because there's not safety in numbers with art. I think you should be a complete fascist when you're creating a work of art. I don't think it is open to utilitarian or democratic referendum.
At
You
the
end
end
up
of
with the X Factor winner that way.
No, I know, but that pleases the masses. That's what I'm saying. When there was a painting knocking about when I was a kid, right, called The Blue Boy.
Yeah.
Now every house had one, right? It
Well-
turned out that it was just a bloke who had a load and he was flogging them to everyone. But the thing is, that sums up art to me. Someone's got a load, do you want one? Go on then, I've got a wall to fill. And they stick it on. It's not, no, what does that represent?
Well,
What's that going to bring to the room? It's just filling a gap. And that's what art is to me. It's filling a gap that would otherwise have now in it.
but you're obsessed with the functionality of things. This is all you're ever obsessed with. What's its function? Things always need to get you from A to Z in some way. And art's not about that.
Have you got much art in your house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it gives me pleasure, and I don't get tired of it. I don't get bored
Do you
of
look
it.
at it every day?
What? it's there, isn't it? It just
Yeah,
adds
but other things
a
are there.
pleasure to
Dust
it.
is there, but
Surprisingly, I've not compared
I think
art
I've
to dust as often as I perhaps should. But the thing about, and this I think may be intriguing to you, Damien Hirst, of course, is more of a conceptual artist like Tracy Emin, and a lot of what contemporary art does is followed on from a guy called Marcel Duchamp, who I'm sure you're familiar with. Now, he famously took a gentleman's white urinal like you'd find in a pub toilet, and he put it on its side, and he signed it with a fake name, and he put it in an art gallery. Now, he did that in about 1917, perhaps a bit later.
It just annoys me, because there'll be snobby people who haven't got a clue, and they're looking at that and they go, oh yeah, see what he's trying to say.
Well, that might make them think. They might.
Damien Hirst, I don't feel angry with Damien Hirst, really, because he's getting away with it.
But why does that annoy you?
Because it's people falling into the trap. Damien Hirst, before he dies, I bet he goes, what a laugh that was. I had everyone on.
There's a very good point as well, because some people think that the greatest art form of the last 100 years is marketing.
Yeah.
Some people say that that is his art, that it's not good enough to do it. You've got to then get away with it. And if the point of art is to inflame, I don't think anything inflames people more than the discussion about whether something's art, or if someone's taking the piss, or if someone gets 50 million for something, do they deserve it? Is it worth a hospital?
Well, what do you think? What do you think of the shark in the tank?
I think I was blown away by it. I thought I'd never seen anything like it before.
It was sort of spectacular because it is so huge and so vast, and to have put a shark, you know, in formaldehyde and to have hung it in an art gallery, it's very striking when you see it.
Yeah,
it's a remarkable achievement.
What is he? Is he an artist or a fishmonger? What he's done, anyone could have done what he did.
Yes, but not everyone did it. He did it. This is an interesting point that you raise. It's the same old point you always raise. Not anyone could have done it. That's always the same point you make. Anyone could have done it.
Carl,
but they didn't do it.
You could say the same about Michelangelo. Is he an artist or a painter and decorator?
Well, it hasn't caught on, has it? Like the crying boy photograph. No one's having them in their house. No one's gone, oh, have you seen this? Have you seen the new trend, a shark in a tank? No one's got the room, no one wants it. And that, to me, shows you what's popular. At the end of the day, if everyone wants one, he's got to be good, hasn't it?
But I think if people were given a chance to appreciate more sophisticated things, then they would. And I just think I think that's true in all walks of life. You know, it's an acquired taste, and the best things are an acquired taste. They really are.
Well,
you know, if all you eat is processed cheese and white bread, you get a taste for it. But if you try something that's, you know, in my opinion, better than that, then, you know, you'll leave that behind.
That's pretty rich coming from you.
I know, I love a bit of cheddar, don't I? On Mother's Pride.
Yeah. Whereas if you were to be offered perhaps some calamari, your reaction would be...
Squid, get it out of my face.
Sure, yeah. But I take your point, Rick. Thanks for it anyway.
Calamari was an artist, by the way.
I mean, I haven't got pictures in our flat because of that mirrored wall I've got.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, it's tiny. You've been in it. I've got windows on one wall, door to get in on the other, kitchen on the other, mirrored wall on the other. So there's
no
nowhere
space for
there.
art.
There's no space for art.
I'm intrigued how you sit at home. Where's the sofa?
At home.
Yeah.
Facing the mirror.
So you sit looking at yourself all night?
Yeah.
As opposed to a painting?
Yeah, but at least that changes each day.
No, it doesn't.
It does, the picture
No,
changes.
it's not. It's round and miserable. Every fucking day.
No, honestly. It's good to... Because you don't look at yourself otherwise. Especially me, I haven't got any hair to comb or anything. So I don't look in the mirror as much as the normal person. So, whereas now, I'm looking there every day.
So you're sat at home staring at yourself?
No, because the telly's in front of the mirror.
But are you not distracted by yourself?
Yeah, you do. When the adverts are on, you look up, and if Suzanne's sat next to me, I tend to talk to her through the mirror.
What do you mean? So, why don't you look at her when you talk to her?
Well, you don't have to turn your neck or anything. There's no neck usage going on. I can just look forward, I look at the telly, lift the eyes up, look in the mirror, look at me, look at her.
What does she do? Look back at you in the
We're used
mirror.
to it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like there's more people in the room in a way. It's like,
And they're further away!
there's nothing odd about that. Why wouldn't you use... It doesn't matter. Your
Sorry,
eyes, remember, your
why
eyes
wouldn't
are
you
still...
talk to your girlfriend via a mirror all the time? Is that your question?
Well, no, I think it's quite normal. If your head is facing a mirror where you can see everything in that room. Remember, it's a small flat. I can see everything that's going on in there without moving my head. Stephen Hawking would be well happy. So I can look forward. She's sat next to me. If I'm watching the telly, I can say something. Now, she's getting the sound from me still because she's sat close.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're further away, but things look better from a distance anyway.
So that's how you managed to keep this relationship alive?
Maybe.
You're such an odd little man.
But no, it's not odd. You see, there was a woman on the estate who did use... have I told you about Miss Peggy before?
No.
It rings a bell. Go on.
I think I told you ages ago. It's this fat woman who used to be on the estate. She had a 3-wheeler bike. And her husband...
Push bike, pedal bike?
Yeah, like a tricycle thing, but a big one.
Right.
She used to sit her husband in the basket in the back. Cycle about, what have you.
Yeah.
She was known as Miss Piggy. Anyway.
Oh, is this the one that she used to beat him up so your dad pretended to be a policeman?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
That's the one, yeah. You remember?
No, I don't remember this.
Yeah, she used to always duff her husband up and that, and people in the area knew that she was being a bit tight on him. And my dad went round with his mate and sort of...
But what's this got to do with the mirror?
Anyway, well, the way she used to communicate, she used to always go in quick save and nick biscuits. And if anyone went up to her to say, stop nicking the biscuits, she'd pull out like a little mirror out of a bag, and she'd look in it, but talk to you via the mirror.
Oh, man!
What? So she's insane?
It's weird, isn't it?
It was really weird.
Like
it used to scare me.
It's like a Salvador Dali painting. you exist in there.
Yeah. It's really, really
So
weird.
hang on, so she used to talk to people through the mirror, because she was mental.
I couldn't sit, watch the telly, and look at me watching the telly in the mirror all night.
No.
That's
no,
weird.
that would
Why?
be really weird.
It's really weird, Carl.
I'd be very conscious of myself.
No,
Conscious
I
of the
think
way
it gives,
I'm
you,
sad.
it gives you confidence and that, and if you are
Gives you
sort of...
confidence.
Well, yeah, because you're seeing yourself more and you pick up what habits you do and stuff like that.
So what have you changed through your viewing of yourself?
I sort of grew a beard the other week, just something different to look at for a bit. And then you get sick of that, it's like a piece of art. Change that, have a bit of a shave.
Can you see the back of the telly in the mirror?
A little bit, yeah. If the flat's a mess, it's a mess twice.
The earliest art, which we know, which we call cave paintings, they date back between 30 and 10,000 years BC. Even those people tried to brighten up their cave with a bit of art. So in many ways, they were more advanced than you.
Yeah, but they didn't have a big mirror. I mean, if you're living in a cave, let's face it, you're not going to go mad if your kids start drawing, doodling on the cave wall, are you? Doesn't matter.
Right.
Brighten it up. But they always did the same thing. It was always a yak, wasn't it?
Well,
There's always a yak.
Yeah, but they drew what they saw. I mean, yeah, I love the fact that 30,000 years ago they're being criticised for being a bit literal.
No, but surely, if all you ever see when you step out the cave is a yak, do something different on the wall for when you get in.
What?
Why is it always a yak on every wall?
Is it always a yak?
It's always a yak. Whenever you see these Tom Robinson Time Team programmes...
Who's Tom Robinson?
He's the guy who did Motorway, isn't he?
Yeah, and a 70s singer-songwriter. Tony Robinson, you mean?
Tony Robinson, whenever you see him digging around, they say, hold up everyone, get the brush, what's this? It's always a yak. Yet they pretend they're interested.
So you're saying that you wouldn't have, you'd have been no, I'm not going to draw a yak, I just saw a yak outside.
This is what I'm saying to you about trends. One person has it, the next caveman goes, I'll have one of them on my wall. I'll do a yak. Why was there no one just doing something a bit different?
Well,
like
it's not true. They did. It's not true. This thing about it's yak.
It's just in your own head.
The programmes I've seen, I've been to Pompeii, where they had doodling on the walls, and that was all like knobs, tits and arse,
Yeah.
all over the shop. Now, do that now, people go, that's a disgrace, rub that out, clean that, get it down. Whereas now, if you see one in Pompeii, they go, oh, look at that, look at the detail on that.
Well,
And
yeah.
that's what I'm saying, there's snobbery in art. It's the same knob. The knob has not changed.
Yeah, but I imagine in 50,000 years' time, if they dig up a cubicle and there's tits and arse, people will
yak.
take pictures of
It
it
won't
again.
be. This is the interesting thing with the way we live now. We're cleaning stuff up constantly now. There's no almost no record of our time because we're getting rid of everything. We clean everything up. Everything's clean. Getting rid of rubbish. Recycling everything.
Well, that's a very good point. Is graffiti a valid art form?
Some of it is.
I think it is, yeah. I mean, we're not talking about the classic spunking dick, which is still, I mean, it's still great, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if
you see a lovely clean white wall and you see a spunking dick on it, you're gonna laugh.
Always laugh. Do you add hair to the testicles when drawing the spunking dick?
A few. The testicles.
Because it's always clean. My testicles are always clean.
Really?
Yeah, I
put, you know, the 4 or 5 bristles sticking out straight.
See, I always thought that was a kind of commoner version.
It looks like mine looks like. I don't mean my real one. I mean my
your illustrative.
Yeah. It looks like 2 gooseberries and Thunderbird 2.
Do you add much detail at the tip of the penis?
No, it's a straightforward. It's dissecting across, just a line across to show the helmet.
Yep.
Then one little line for the eye.
Do you tend to keep the same number of droplets coming out? Droplets.
I do 3, but I don't do the line. I actually do the little teardrop.
The little teardrop droplets.
Yeah. And that is the spunking dick. As
when I was at school, it was referred to, and this may be specific to Bristol, it was referred to as the sacred. I've just drawn a sacred.
Oh, really?
I don't know where the origin of that was.
Some graffiti is funny. I saw one in London. It just said, Rachel is a big-arsed, big-chinned cunt. Now, I think Rachel's going to see that and know, well, I'm the only big-arsed, big-chinned cunt round here. I don't know how big her chin was.
Sure.
I think of her chin maybe looking like the arse.
Yeah.
It's like the big arse like that, but maybe she couldn't see the last part of it because the chin was in the way. Rachel is and that's
now,
all she
where
could
was this
see.
graffiti written?
It was in, near Centre Point.
So, do you think someone was so angry with Rachel?
Well, maybe Rachel nicked this woman's fella.
Right.
And she went out.
Yeah, and scored that.
Yeah.
In a lot of different places. I saw one that was something, I don't know, it was back in Bristol, it was something like, Michael Peters is gay. And I always wondered if that was Michael Peters himself, who was having trouble coming out of the closet.
Oh, yeah!
And was just writing that in a number of different places. So that by the time he finally mentioned people, they went, oh yeah, I knew that anyway, I saw it in the toilet.
Sculptures. What do you think of sculptures? I mean, because that's something that really is getting into the 3D world there, isn't it? No longer do you have to represent something as 3D. You can make something, you know, the statues are amazing, aren't they?
They're clever, aren't they? I mean, they always look the same.
Well, that's not true, is it? Because recently there was quite a controversial one, a huge one, in London, the pregnant thalidomide woman. What do you think of that?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Thoughts?
I wouldn't have it in my house.
Well, there wouldn't be room, because it would just be you, Suzanne, and a pregnant thalidomide watching telly.
I don't know what he was trying to say. It's,
Maybe she was saying, okay, we've had the human form. This is an example of the human form.
Yeah, but do you think she started off trying to do normal, and it was like, oh, I've chipped a bit off?
One of the arms got chipped off.
Well, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? And why, you see that square, Trafalgar Square, you got that? Nelson's column, he's got one arm and a leg missing or something, and a patch over his eye. Then you've got the thalidomide. Why can't they just do a full person?
Well, that was what they saw. That was what the artist saw.
It's about confronting us with certain preconceptions of what we expect of the human form, what we expect of sculpture. It's probably a little ironic comment as well on the famous Rodin. It's wrapped up with all kinds of ideas of maternity, of the human form, of what sculpture is. Why wouldn't you put that in a big public place?
But what about the subject? Did you think, who's that subject? Who is that woman?
No, not really, because thalidomides are around, and we've all seen one. It's not like a shocking image. It's one of life's little things that it chucks out. There's some out there. So
Amazing.
it's not shocking, is it? I don't understand what you mean. I think what I thought is, it just goes to show we're sort of running out of ideas.
What do you think of people who are so angry at art, they try and censor it, or they try and destroy it? Do you think art should ever be censored?
It's where you put it. If it's in a gallery, then it doesn't have to be censored. If it's in Trafalgar Square, where everyone's wandering around having a nice time, you don't want a 12-foot cock. So it's all about where you put it. I think some art looks better because of where it is. Angel of the North, that's a bit of art, but it's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? You're driving along a miserable motorway.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that over there? Gives you something for your eyes to look at again. Motorways are the most boring place to drive. But you go, look, there's a bit of art over there.
Yeah, but
Stick that
then
Angel
again,
of the
should you be
North.
looking at art when you're going at 70 miles an hour along a motorway?
Well, yeah, because it's really big. You can keep your eye on it and
Look in the mirror.
It's not a problem.
Wait till you go past it and look in the mirror like normal.
So you like the Angel of the North?
Because it's something in the middle of nothing.
Right, but if you put it somewhere else...
Stick it in Trafalgar Square, you'd go, oh, more clutter.
Now, you've spoken, Karl, about, you know, art and what impact does it have, blah, blah, blah. And as Ricky's just pointed out, of course, in some instances, art has been considered incredibly controversial, very provocative, and has been banned. Famously, one thinks of the Nazis banning and burning certain books, not all of which were just books, you know, criticising them. It was often artistic works, things which they felt were subversive in some sense. And you get that in many repressive regimes, where people's artistic work is not allowed to express the way they feel about something. Stalinist Russia, for instance, art there, literature, are not able to express its views because people see it as dangerous, as provocative.
Well, yeah, the threat always comes from scholars, with like any dictatorship, you know, and they know that.
But not just scholars writing, you know, scholarly texts, criticisms, but also people expressing themselves through poetry, through creativity.
Well, yeah,
things which are not
expression's
direct.
dangerous, yeah.
They can be abstract, and yet they can still be subversive.
Yeah, but I think if it's done in a way that isn't just like a lunatic, they get away with it. Like a nice poem, some people would read it in a different light. I might read it and go, I don't even know what they're going on about there. So, as long as it's done clever, get away with it, don't they? So
Well,
it
no,
makes the
often not
artist
the
better.
case, but that's not often not the case, that's
When?
what I'm saying. Often, in these regimes, these things are repressed.
No, but there's always like code words and that you can use and they can't have you on it.
Such as?
I don't know. I'm not into that sort of work.
Right,
Well-
so you've just made a statement there, but it's not backed up with any actual
No,
information.
what if you
Well,
do
there
it
was
in
a good
clever
point
way?
there. No, there was a very good point there. The McCarthy era, where he was threatened by communism infiltrating the country, and he thought that entertainers might be a part of that, the conspiracy. It was a hotbed, and he made everyone come forward, writers, actors, say they're not a communist, and some people were out in the cold, and so people had to be a bit cleverer, like was it Arthur Miller, The Crucible? It's a metaphor. It's about witch hunts, but it's about the McCarthyism. So yes, good point. You can put coded messages
CB
into
radio
art.
was the same thing.
Go on.
Well, it's all the codes. As long as you've got
Yeah, okay,
codes.
well, I thought you had I mean, I was trying to make your point sort of more valid than it obviously
No,
was.
but if you need to refer to CB radio, that's the obvious...
Well,
the
that's
obvious
what I can
justification.
relate to.
Sure.
Yeah, we've done this. There's no point in CB radio. They go, how many candles are you burning? What? How old are you? 8. Okay, yeah. I mean, there's no point to those codes at all, you know.
But this is in no way relatable to The Crucible. Why would you be talking about one of the most respected plays of the 20th century, and suddenly this, in your head, reminds you of CB radio?
Just having this code going on that only certain people know how to break.
Everyone knew it.
No, it's
pointless.
Not back then they didn't.
Pointless. I remember we were shown the cartoon version of Animal Farm when we were about like 15, 16. We were discussing it afterwards about Napoleon. Oh yeah, great. Oh yeah, communism versus the poor proletariat and all this. And this bloke went, "You lot make me sick. It was just a nice film about some animals." Brilliant.
Yeah. What's your take on that, Carl? No, go on, what's your point? Because you can see the irony there, can't you?
I haven't seen it.
No.
If you want to do a serious point, don't use animals.
No? Well, I disagree with you there, because we're going to get onto literature later, and I think my favourite is probably Charles Dickens, and I think the greatest story ever told is A Christmas Carol, and there's only one way that could ever be improved, and that is a Muppet Christmas
That's
Carol.
absolutely right, yeah.
So, and I think that you could, and I think people could take a lesson from that and maybe do other films with the Muppets. A Muppet Schindler's List.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could make it so moving, couldn't you?
Schindler's List in space! Yeah. Well, I think it would certainly help bring that story to a wider audience.
I think so. Yeah.
A lot of people who, like Karl, who were put off perhaps by the depressing black and white of it, they would suddenly see the Muppets singing and dancing.
Miss Piggy's Choice.
Miss Piggy's Choice, yeah.
Well, we talked about that.
What?
About things like that in art as well. Do you think that bringing something so serious to the masses, like films do, things like the Holocaust and like Sophie's Choice, where she has to choose which child lives and dies.
Why does she have to pick?
Well, because the Nazis were horrible, nasty, evil people.
And which one did she pick?
I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's the point.
I love the idea that
this is not a betting game.
No, but I imagine this is like Deal No Deal. It's kind of, you're down to the last two. Which one you're going to go for?
Oh, God. But why did you ask which one did she choose? Because even if he'd said the names, Robert and Alison, what difference would it make? You don't know the story. Why is it that
because then I'd ask more then. If you said Alison, I'd go, what was it with Alison? What did she have over Robert? That's what films are meant to do. You question it. Whenever I watch a film with Suzanne, I always say at the end, what was going on there?
Oh, that's because you're an idiot!
Christ!
That's because you've just watched Muppet Christmas Carol and you can't understand why a frog's able to talk.
I'm all for films with a good storyline.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's a perfect point. One extraordinary point.
Guys, he's gonna follow this up, mate. He's gonna follow this up.
He's got something there. He's got something here.
Carl, go on then. What's your take on films?
Films are really good. You can get lost in them.
Right.
And
you like one with a good story?
I mean, whenever anyone asks, it's always the same. It's Elephant Man. It's Kes. Mission Impossible 2.
Mission Impossible 2. These are what you consider great works of film art.
I'm just saying these are ones that I've enjoyed recently. There's so many films that I haven't seen, yet you always say, oh, have you seen so-and-so?
Well, Mission Impossible 1.
And there's good news for you. 3's out.
That's true. One of the most striking art exhibitions that I ever attended, Karl, was an exhibition of outsider art. Something I'm sure you're very familiar with. Outsider art, of course, is work that is made by people who are often institutionalized for mental health problems, or they are just incredibly, the people who aren't in any way part of the art establishment.
Well, right up to psychopathic murderers, clinically insane mass murderers would count as outsider art. I went to an outsider art exhibition in New York. It was incredible, and I bought a painting of this guy. He's a chronic schizophrenic, and he paints in tar, like road tar, that he gets from roads, and he paints in that on wood he finds in sort of skips, and it's incredible because it's sort of like scratched in, and it's amazing. There's this thing of Jesus being helped down off the cross, and you have to study it, but it's there, and it's quite incredible that it's just scratched in this wood by tar. And there's loads of things that I was walking around. Admittedly, I was walking around there going, "This is fucking mental," and James was going, "You've got to stop saying that," because of course some of the people are mental. There was one bloke who done a sculpture of a skull, right? And underneath, it was like a little head with his teeth. Underneath, he'd put a sign that said "real teeth." Where did he get the real teeth from?
What I think's interesting about that is how much therapy it provides for these often mentally unstable people. Which is another important value of art, of course. People's self-expression, people being able to give a little piece of themselves through their work. Do you not see any value in that? How do you express yourself?
Whistle.
You whistle.
Yeah, I found over Christmas I whistled a lot more than I usually do. And I think that was just freedom.
What do you mean freedom?
Right,
freedom.
Expand on this point, if you would.
Well, that's what art is, isn't it? It's you being free of all the world's heaviness on your shoulders.
See, that's a great quote, that. That's great, that. For art is freedom. I love that, because I think you've really hit on something there.
Would you include the free of all the world's heaviness?
Well, I know what you meant. I know what you meant there.
Would you include that one in it?
I mean, I would include the world's heaviness in my freedom. You know, some artists are attracted to the dark side, the heaviness of the world.
But I just want to return to you whistling as your
Yeah.
artistic expression of freedom. I mean, why did you find yourself whistling more?
That's what was weird.
So just
few
take us
days
through a typical day. When would the whistling begin?
So this was that you spent Christmas down in Kent with Suzanne and her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I suggest something? Your freedom was thinking, I'm in my own place now, I'm going to annoy them.
Well, it was mainly, it's when we were playing Scrabble.
Mm.
And they were taking ages to have their go, and couldn't have the radio on because the boiler affects the radio. It works, it just gives something off. Every time it kicks in, the radio goes all staticky.
Right.
So I just was sort of supplying the soundtrack.
I think you've really hit on something there.
Would you include the free of all the world's heaviness?
Well, I know what you meant. I know what you meant there.
Would you include that one in it?
I mean, I would include the world's heaviness in my freedom. You know, some artists are attracted to the dark side, the heaviness of the world.
But I just want to return to you whistling as your
Yeah.
artistic expression of freedom. I mean, why did you find yourself whistling more?
That's what was weird.
So just
few
take us
days off.
through a typical day. When would the whistling begin?
So this was that you spent Christmas down in Kent with Suzanne and her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I suggest something? Your freedom was thinking, I'm in my own place now, I'm going to annoy them.
Well, it was mainly, it's when we were playing Scrabble.
Mm.
And they were taking ages to have their go, and couldn't have the radio on because the boiler affects the radio. It sort
You
of
got boiler
interferes with
problems
it.
down in Kent as
It,
well?
it works, it just gives something off. Every time it kicks in, the radio goes all staticky.
Right.
So I just was sort of supplying the soundtrack.
And what kind of things would you be whistling?
It was like, I just sort of did a whistle medley. It was going from one thing to another.
A Wedley.
And a man was impressed. She was like, oh, you can whistle, can't you? I was going, yeah. And then she was saying, how loud can you go? I was just doing all different levels.
Sorry, this sounds like a scene from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The boiler's setting off the radio. I can whistle. Oh, you're good whistling, yeah. Oh, let's grab out. Talk about outsider art.
I love the fact that Carl's life is like living in a home
It
when
is.
you're in your 80s.
Yeah.
But you felt that this was your way of expressing yourself.
I just found it odd because I don't whistle that much. I think just because I think I'm fed up most of the time when I'm in London. And you don't whistle when you're fed up, do you? Whistling's a happy thing. You never get an angry man suddenly breaking into a
Well,
whistle.
the people who aren't whistling are usually pissed off. But yeah, the bloke who's whistling, it's like, yeah, it's the least, he's the least annoyed person in the room when someone's whistling. Same as holding a drill. The only person that noise doesn't annoy is the bloke who's drilling. Everyone else wants to punch his face in. Same with whistling. Whistling,
goes to show
there's no point in whistling.
No, there is.
No, there's not. The only point to whistling is in a bloke's changing room. Everyone's whistling, going, "I'm not looking at your cock." If I'm whistling, I can't be looking at your cock. Anything else? There's no calling a dog. Maybe calling a dog.
It changes the atmosphere.
Yeah, it annoys everyone else.
Don't know. I mean, our window cleaner was known as like, you know, that's how you knew he was there. He always whistled. And in the end, he fell off his ladder, broke his front teeth.
Oh.
Retired.
What, because he couldn't whistle?
That was it. It was like,
Well, yeah, he
can't
whistled
whistle,
all the time.
Can't whistle,
Well, yeah.
can't clean windows. It's a bit tragic.
Could he take along a whistle? Just pop that in his mouth.
Yeah, I suppose he could have done. Didn't think of that.
What about a flute? Or a recorder? Not London's burning again. Fucking clean the windows and then fuck off.
He didn't really think this through, did he? He retired at the age of 28. And his whole family were bankrupt.
With no teeth.
Yeah.
And just a
Why
bucket and a
aren't
squeegee.
you working, Dad? Because I can't whistle.
I can't whistle anymore, and if the day you give up whistling is the day I give up window cleaning.
So you never whistle?
No.
I can't really whistle very well. No.
I don't whistle, but I can whistle better than that.
What, you did this for hours on end while playing Scrabble?
About 2 hours.
2 hours?
Hell.
Put my word down.
And
then,
sorry, can we just hear that again? Can we hear it?
So you
But
were
that
whistling, you were whistling after you had your go as well?
yeah.
Fucking hell, Carl.
But hang on, let's just hear a bit. That is Carl's self-expression. That is his artistic self-expression right there.
A name. No tune, no nothing.
There's mental patients who have smeared canvases with shit who have expressed more than you have in that.
Yeah, but it's not about other people. I'm not there to please other people.
You're there to annoy them.
What was the best word you came up with in Scrabble?
Don't knock me at Scrabble, because I do alright. What's weird is, when I play Scrabble, my brain can come up with words that I don't normally say.
Okay, this isn't... No, I'm intrigued here. Your brain can come up with words you wouldn't normally say.
Just words that I'd never drop into a sentence.
Tree, cat.
Go on.
Squirm. That's using a Q. It's worth 10, that. It's not bad, is it? No, I'd never say that.
I've never heard you... I don't think I've ever heard you say squirm, no. I don't think you're right, Carl. I've never heard you say squirm.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is weird.
And yet your brain popped that one out?
And then, yeah, when it wasn't my go, just... Anyway, so that's sort of doing art for yourself as opposed for other people.
I don't think you can count what you just did then as art. Hobby maybe, craft, pastime. I don't think you can count that as art. I'm not being funny. I'm being a bit snobby here. But I think there's a difference between Beethoven and... Squirm. There's a Q in that.
No. Classical music. I wish I was more educated on classical music. That which I've heard, I've adored. I genuinely find it challenging because it is so spectacular. It is so of another place. Where do you sit with classical music?
It's good for background, I think.
Right.
See, you know me, I like a song with a story, and there's nothing going on in them. That's,
Now the problem with that is, how many times can you hear the same story?
quite a lot. How many times can you watch the same film? Same thing, except it's shorter than watching a film.
Yeah, but the film goes into the story with more depth than a 3-minute song.
Yeah, but there's also, do you know, like when you watch, what's an example? Say, I can't think of a film.
Yeah, there's not many.
No, but a moment in a film that, it doesn't matter how many times you watch it, you go, I enjoyed that bit.
Godfather swings to
Well,
mind.
say, no, over Christmas, On the Buses was on the movie.
Oh, Jesus.
You went with The Godfather, you went with On the Buses. I mean, Brando, Varney, I don't know which is better.
It was the bit where, like, the toilet blows up after chucking a fag in. That's had paint in it.
Right, sorry, that's in On the Buses, that's not in The Godfather. I can't remember that. Maybe that's Godfather 2.
Well, the thing is, I enjoyed that bit and I knew it was coming. It's like, oh, I'll just watch this before I nip out and put the kettle on. Let's just see this
How
bit.
many times have you seen the On the Buses film?
Probably about 4 or 5 times.
Sure, why not?
But all I'm saying is, music is there to sing over.
No, it's not!
Music is there to sing over.
That's a ridiculous thing to say. Music does something to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know why a chord can say something to you. I don't know, mate. Gives you that feeling. I'm in awe of it. I'm in awe of musicians.
Yeah.
My favourite piece of music is a thing by Vaughan Williams. It's 5 variants of Dives and Lazarus, right? And there's a bit there where it hits this chord, and I can't listen to it when I'm away from home because I well up. It reminds me of everything. England, just it does something to me, and it does it on a level that I can't sort of quite understand. It's just immaculate.
I just don't think you can beat a decent vocal on top of that.
Oh, that's amazing!
My mum's got a CD of Roger Whittaker, right?
Right, whistling again.
Now, he whistles Jealous Guy. Now, the thing is, I can't listen to that and whistle along. I end up singing Jealous Guy on top of it.
So, singing trumps whistling?
Yeah, when someone else is doing the whistling.
Okay.
I like whistling, but if someone else has did that first...
So
then
if
I'm
Roger was singing Jealous Guy, you'd be
I'd probably
whistling.
whistling it. To make the classics live on, I'm surprised someone hasn't gone, I can add to this, and dub on a bit of vocal.
So you would have classical music with lyrics?
Just for people
Beethoven's
who want
Fifth, Beethoven's Fifth, that would be better to you, that would...
But what are you meant to do with it? What do you do when you've got that on? Then do you whistle along? Or
No,
do
I
you
don't whistle along.
Hum?
I just, I let it. Oh,
Do you
Carl,
whistle along?
I just don't know what to say.
Why are you obliged to whistle? That's the only way you can enjoy music, if you can whistle along.
Well, that's the same with anything. A good song, you join in, don't you? It's like, oh, I like this one. Yeah.
No.
So by that token, YMCA is one of the greatest of all tunes.
I mean, it's not one of my favourites, but you can't knock it. It certainly gets the crowd up. I did DJing, and
Why do you care
that
about
was
the
more
crowd?
popular.
Who are this crowd?
Oh, I'm just saying.
Who are this crowd that you have to live in your head with? Fuck the crowd. Most of them are idiots.
Although, admittedly, if I was doing a wedding DJing set, I probably would do YMCA over Vaughan Williams.
And why is that? Because it's happier-go-lucky. It's done in 3 minutes. Classical music goes on for ages.
No, that's a good point.
It fades out, it comes back in again. Well,
it's a good point.
it's all over the shop.
Are you going or are you staying?
It's over time, and I'm not saying we should get rid of it, and I might grow into it, because I think that's music for older people.
Well,
I
I think Mozart would disagree, I think he did his first symphony when he was 5 or 6. Probably playing piano and writing music before you could read.
When did the piano come out when he was a kid?
What do you mean?
If it was trendy to have a piano when he was a kid, it's like how kids now, they're messing about on Google at the age of 2. Because the laptop is new. It's new to us. To them, it's like, oh, it's Google, innit?
What's your point?
Because he was born at the right time.
Beethoven.
Yeah, he was born.
Mozart. So you're saying that all 3-year-olds around the time of Mozart were brilliant?
There would have been quite a lot of them. Mozart, Beethoven, all that. They're all, Handel. They're all around the same time, aren't they?
Just guessing. Wild stabs in the dark. Just names he's heard. Just names he's heard. So when Ricky was young, when I presume Rolf Harris's stylophone came out, everyone was composing on the stylophone,
Yeah, exactly.
It's all what you brought up with, isn't it? Nothing's hard if you're given it when you're a kid. Nothing's difficult. It can be taught all sorts. I haven't got room for a piano. It's too big for a pastime. A hobby shouldn't take up a whole corner of a room.
It's so limited, isn't it? His scope, his imagination.
But a piano, the idea that a piano in a house would be a frustration and annoyance.
Music.
That you could play
harmony.
But I'd worry about annoying other people with it as
No,
well.
you don't. You whistle when you're playing Scrabble. You don't worry about annoying people at all. I'm sure people would rather have gentle piano music in the background than squirm. Squirm. So one of the earliest and most celebrated art forms that's, along with painting and music still going today, is the play. And of course, the most famous and celebrated exponent of that is our very own William Shakespeare. Some say maybe the greatest literary genius in history. I'm not a fan.
Right.
And I'll tell you why I'm not a fan. One reason and one reason only.
Sure.
Nothing to do with the structure, his themes, fantastic. The pun.
Right.
Oh, I can't stand the pun.
Yeah, but I mean, although Shakespeare did include a few puns in his work, I don't think you could...
No, I suppose it's the people that have taken on the pun. It just reminds me of a bloke in a beard and a pipe at a party doing puns, And it's things like Shakespeare, things like, take their maidenheads. And you have to look at your Brody's notes to go, okay, cut off their heads, and take their virginity. Oh, brilliant. You can't, it's like, you can't explain a joke in retrospect. You don't laugh if you then explain to you.
I'm gonna have to take issue with the idea that Shakespeare was not a truly great master of our language.
I think he was.
If you listen,
he added to the language. He invented words, or at least he stole words and changed them a bit. He took them from other languages, which is totally valid. And he made up loads of sayings that are still around today. And there's a poetry in that, inventing new. Actually, Karl, you like sayings, don't you? I've got a list here of some of the sayings and phrases that Shakespeare made up. Really, in a pickle was his.
Yeah.
And we know what in a pickle means.
Yeah, we know what it means. It's a saying I'd never use. Because when you're in a pickle, it's not something that you would say.
No, if you're being if you're captured and you're being tortured for information,
yeah,
you wouldn't, and you get access to a phone, you wouldn't go, MI5, I'm in a pickle. You'd be screaming, going, he's taking my teeth now.
Much as I love Shakespeare, is when that play was first staged and someone said during the play, ooh, I'm in a pickle, did the audience understand, or were they baffled?
Or was it like watching Ken Dodd when he goes, "Yumbunctious"?
Exactly.
Oh, totally hilarious.
Yeah.
So Shakespeare is about as good as Ken Dodd.
That's what we appear to have established. While you've been talking about that, I just was looking on the computer at the Pun of the Day website, because I feel I take much of what you say about puns and agree with it. Here's a couple that you might like. There was a sign on the lawn at a drug rehab centre that said, "Keep off the grass."
Okay, now if the pun is the lowest form of wit, and let's face it, sarcasm isn't, sarcasm is up there compared to the pun, then the drug pun, I think, is one of the lowest of the low. Oh, people who congratulate themselves on getting drug references. Keep off the grass, will you? Grass, get it? Grass. You're smoking the grass. Yeah.
Show me a piano falling down a mine shaft, and I'll show you a flat minor.
Oh, God. Okay, good. Okay.
Do you get that?
Well, these are, I mean, that sums up puns, isn't it? It's things that kids get in a cracker. I think pun should be short for punch him in the mouth.
Idioms are better.
Go on then, what's an idiom? Is that a new word you made up?
No,
I think Karl Pilkington's a complete idiom.
I found out what it was because I thought, oh, I like them, what are they?
Right.
And it's like little sayings.
Yeah, that's right.
That sum stuff up.
Go on, give us an example of your favourite.
Oh, can I just say one, talking about sayings, Karl was getting fed up with summer. He was fed up with not getting replies from something. He's having a hard time, and, I went, oh, the worm has turned. He went, what? I went, the worm has turned, you've...
Stupid saying, isn't it?
No, well, okay, tell him why you think that's a stupid saying.
Because how do you know when a worm's turned? Of all the creatures that you could flip over and know it's turned, why pick a worm? It's the worst thing they could have picked to express something turning.
But you're taking turning literally. It means changing, doesn't it? Changing your attitude. A new broom, turning over a new leaf.
Yeah, but
things are going to be different now, and I'm sick of it.
Chameleon.
No, but
chameleon is a brilliant thing to use for something to change. Chuck that in the sentence. There's nothing that you can link a worm to human life to. You're talking about something that's... It's blind, isn't it? It's blind, it's deaf.
Gay.
It's got no features.
Why is he having such a go at a worm?
Just because it's a weird thing to use. Something that... Its arse is more... It does more than its head.
That could be said of you, Karl, to be fair.
We've talked about what art is, we've talked about painting, sculpture, we've talked about music briefly, we've talked about whistling over music to make it better. Poetry. A completely different type of art form there. Karl, what's your thoughts on poetry?
I've never really been a fan of it.
There's a surprise.
I think it's sort of, it's alright for the person who's doing it. You say that whistling is just for the whistler. But I think poetry's more like that, because sometimes you read it and you're thinking, what's he going on about? It's always a bit, I don't know, it's sold in a bad light. It's a bit sort of, a bit gay, innit?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it depends what sort you're talking about, because maybe there's poetry out there that I haven't heard.
There's some poetry gayer than others.
Yeah.
War poetry can't be gay, can it? That was people...
I haven't heard, go on.
People fighting in the trenches and... It can't be gay, they weren't gay, they were writing to their sweetheart. I don't know his name, it might have been a bloke, I don't know, but...
So was it a sort of a... What sort of poem was it? Was it sort of a limerick, sort of a...
No, it was, well, there's famous ones, Wilfred Owen and Siegfried Sassoon, and they're very moving. They're about, what usually happens is that they talk about, why are we here? This is, we've been sold a lie here, and they really started seeing war in a different light from their point of view in the trenches. Famously, some of them died soon after the,
But I prefer a proper letter. No sort of crypticness. That's the problem with poems.
Okay, so you'd have been disappointed to get Dulce et Decorum Est through the post, would you? You'd have just said, what are you trying to say, mate? What's the weather like? When you're coming home? Did you get my socks?
Well, yes, sometimes life is a bit like that, and it's like, say what you mean.
Right. Well, then, you have just wiped all art off the face of the earth, if you literally just say what you mean.
No, I'm just saying in a letter. Say if I was a woman, and my fella was fighting in a war.
Right. What's your fella's name?
Harry.
Okay, so Harry, let me get this right, so when were you married?
About 1935.
1935. So you've been married about 4 years.
Yeah.
Harry, why don't you go off? Oh, you're a woman, aren't you?
Yeah.
You don't. Okay. So what did you see in Harry? Why did you like Harry? Was he?
He just was like funny.
Butch.
He wasn't that butch, but that didn't matter back then, did it? In the war.
No. And you
took everyone.
But what did you say when Harry said to you?
Well, I thought it was coming because a lot of our friends.
Right.
Ended up having
Did you
to
just
go
hug him and say, don't go, or something?
No point, because that would have just made it tough for him. So I What's the point? Just go with it.
But if he
I
had
cried
written...
after he went.
You cried after he went?
That's what you do, innit? You wouldn't do it in front of him. He's got to go to battle.
Okay, so your man goes off to battle.
Right. Then I get a letter from the Colonel saying, "Oh, bit of bad news. Harry's dead." Now I get a letter in the post.
He said what he meant, didn't he? In the
Well, yeah, and they would do, wouldn't they? They wouldn't fanny around saying, "Oh, he was on the warpath and the cloud went dark." I go, "What? Just tell me what happened. I don't want a weather forecast."
He got shot at the arse and the bullet came out his head.
Right. Now, the Colonel, he would just tell me the basics. Now, because he sent his by
Telegram.
they sent a telegram.
Hmm.
The letter I get from Harry has been stamped, so I get it late.
Oh, okay.
So I get a letter from Harry after he's died.
Yeah. Right, and you know he's dead.
I know he's dead, so I get this letter with his handwriting on. I'm devastated because I was just getting over his death.
Yeah.
It's all brought back to me when this letter drops through the post.
Well, yeah, 3 days and you're pretty much over it.
It's Harry's handwriting.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's this?
What's
now I
he
open
written?
it.
Yeah.
And instead of saying things are bad here, socks are damp, you know, everything's grim, it's cold, I'm sick of it. There's a poem. It wouldn't feel like it was from Harry.
Well,
Because it's not in his words. Poems are never in the person's words.
But did you know Harry was a poet when you married him and made love to him
No,
that
I only
night?
picked it up because other people were doing it. Something to do in the trenches.
But when he carried you over the threshold, Carl, and he laid you down and gently kissed you, didn't he say any? Didn't he ever?
He must have whispered some sweet nothings into
No, it
your
wasn't
hysterical
like
red
that.
head.
It wasn't
No,
like that. Straight
no.
to the point. It was like, get your knickers off.
That's one of the weirdest fucking scenarios I've ever heard. Why the fuck was the telegram coming before the letter? So specific. It wasn't like Harry. The fuck's Harry? Oh God! Oh God! Oh God! There are a few things gayer than poetry, though. I want to throw one into the pot. The continental breakfast.
Oh.
The continental breakfast. That annoys me when I see it. Who orders that? If you've got the choice of eggs, beans, burger, chips, sausages,
Bacon.
all that, you've paid for it already. If I was a waiter and someone said, what do you want for breakfast, mate? And the bloke went, oh, I just have a little bit of grapefruit juice and a croissant. I go, do you? Do you want some cum on that? Or you can go back to the hotel room and suck a cock?
Yeah.
So,
No, I'm with you there.
What else is gayer than poetry? I remember when I was at school once, right? The worst thing you could be growing up was gay.
Yeah.
In school. It was the worst thing. It was the, you know. And, I remember I was about 14, 15, I was talking to this bloke, I talk about him on my stand-up, David Beasley. He's the one that said if you get captured by cannibals, they show you pornographic pictures when you're in the pot, so you get an erection and there's more meat to go around. So he was an idiot. He made Carl look smart.
Wow.
Really.
Wow.
He said, you know that thing that kids always do, what would you rather be, blind or deaf?
Yeah.
We did that, and we discussed that for a while, and he went, what would you rather be, blind or queer?
Mm.
And I went, well, I'd rather be gay, because...
Still got all your sights, yeah.
And he went, oh, would you? I went, well, yeah. Well, rather than be blind. I said, yeah. I said, also, if you were gay, you'd like being gay. He went, I wouldn't. I went, no, you would. I said, if you were gay, you would like being gay. He went, I wouldn't, Gervais. Sounds like you would. I went, well, if I was gay, I would like being gay. He went, well, I wouldn't. And he looked at me accusingly, and I went, no, nor would I, but gays would. Which made no sense at all.
Right, yeah.
Just
yeah,
the idea.
yeah.
But this is just like such a stonewall that I'd rather be anything than gay.
Yeah.
Carl, thoughts? Blind or gay?
This is about art, is it?
So there you have it, our comprehensive and definitive guide to the arts. Next in this series is philosophy.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one enormously, Rick, because of course you have a honours degree from the University of London in philosophy.
Yes, but I predict that that one will also be as big a load of bollocks as all the others we've done. Thank you.
Just to remind you that you can still get the Ricky Gervais Guide to Medicine the Ricky Gervais Guide to Natural History, and now, of course, the Ricky Gervais Guide to the Arts.
Philosophy is the science which considers truth. So said Aristotle, one of the great forefathers of Western philosophy. In its attempt to seek out the truths and principles of human existence, philosophy must answer questions of beauty, of justice, of language, indeed, of the mind itself. To help me consider some of the core concepts and presumptions of philosophical inquiry, I'm joined by Stephen Merchant, graduate of the University of Warwick, an award-winning writer.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And Karl Pilkington, a man with no education, didn't really go to school, no awards, head like a fucking orange, you know the twat.
Alright.
To me, philosophy might be the greatest subject of all academic subjects, the mother of science, asking the big questions, why are we here, how do we live? But it's been sort of mugged and kidnapped by those people who put rubbish under the umbrella of philosophy.
Right.
Cod philosophy. I went into a library once, I looked in the philosophy section, and there was a book by Doris Stokes.
Doris Stokes being, for those that don't know,
a medium who said she was talking to the dead. There's crystals, feng shui.
Feng Shui, yeah.
Oh, God.
The interesting thing about Feng Shui is how, I remember someone came into an office I was working in once, and she said, you're going to need crystal here above the lavatory to get all the negative chi out of the system, and she said, this crystal is £25, and the guy went, we're not going to spend that, and she went, okay, I got one here for £5.
Brilliant.
It was surprisingly convenient that she had a number of different crystals that apparently did the same job.
We're also going to need a brush to get the shit out of the toilet. What have you got for that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, that twaddle. There was a woman I remember once, I used to do a radio show on the BBC World Service, and she came in and she could tell from the coloured liquids that you chose, from a big selection of coloured liquids, she could tell a lot about your personality from that. So I picked up about 3 or 4, and she looked at them and I chose like a blue one, just arbitrary, and she looked at me and she said, okay, I get the sense that you like to communicate with people, but on a global level.
And you were working for the World Service.
As we spoke, we were broadcasting on the World Service. I don't know where, I mean, she just read it from the liquids. As a novice, one of the key catchphrases, if you like, of philosophy, and one that's always intrigued and confused me a little, is the famous René Descartes quote, I think, therefore I am. A lot of people think of that as the epitome, in a way, of a philosophical statement. First
thing we ever did, I think, at degree level, and it's the one thing I'd already heard of. It's one of those things that sort of filters down, cogito ergo sum, as you say, I think, therefore I am, when Descartes was pondering his existence. Just before we get to his conclusion, Karl, how do you know this isn't a dream?
Just because I haven't been sleeping that well.
Right, okay.
No, but you could still be dreaming, couldn't you? Because this could be a dream that you haven't been sleeping lately. You could be dreaming the last few nights you haven't been sleeping.
In dreams, they're different, like, I mean, like I say, I don't have that many of them, because I don't sleep that well. But when I do have one, there's something different and vivid about it. Now, if I was dreaming all this, I reckon my boiler would have been fixed ages ago. I don't think anyone has a dream that goes on for that amount of time.
Well, it could be a nightmare, but the presumption, but I think you're also presuming that the dream that you could be dreaming needs to be exactly the same as the dreams you think of when you're dreaming. My point is, there's no way of you knowing that this life you're living now as you talk to us is real, and that it's not actually the imaginings of another Karl somewhere else.
There are actually no clues, Karl. There are actually no clues now that this is the real thing.
Well, most of the time, it's 1 minute I'm awake, next minute I'm asleep, then I'm awake again.
Yeah.
Sleep's just...
You know the bit between you being awake and awake again, that's called a sleep.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever think things while you're asleep?
Vivid things.
It's that bit between the awake and awake I want to look at.
I told you about one ages ago where...
Go on.
Where you burst in and I was on the toilet.
I never heard this dream.
Yeah, the one that it was like everyone was German and it was at some gig or something, and you opened the door and everyone was looking and laughing at me, and I'm sat on the toilet, and you sort of said, "Oh, that's probably because you're uncomfortable with
fame
being put on the limelight."
Yeah, like that you might be. Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
but that's one dream that could be true.
But yeah, exactly. Or there is a likelihood that you think, "I bet he's going to burst in."
I am always on edge when you're about when I use the toilet here.
Yeah,
I kind of think, is he busy at the moment?
You have to wait till he's on the phone to go for a piss.
I have to sit there holding the lock.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing
it isn't
to do.
normal. It's not normal.
But there's an example of a dream. But I think what you're failing to grasp is not so much the mechanics of whether this is a dream, but that you cannot know the truth of what you're experiencing. You cannot know that this is reality. It's a question about reality.
So
How do
let's
we
go
know
on
what
to that
reality
then.
is?
What reality is and what we like about reality. Robert Nozick did this thing that if you could go into a flotation tank and you led a whole virtual life and it was the best life possible. You did exactly what you've always wanted. You became the person you wanted to be. You did the best things you could ever dream of doing, and you literally couldn't tell the difference. So it was your life, okay? And you lived your biological life out in that tank and died at 80 and had the best life any person could ever have. You could pre-program it. Would you get into that tank knowing what you know now, knowing that you would have the best life ever, with no heartache, no upset, no loved ones dying?
So what's happening when I'm sort of having a packet of munchies?
Yeah.
Am I having them, or are they imaginary?
They're imaginary, but you can't tell the difference. It's the best packet of munchies you've ever had. I love the fact that you went into the flotation tank, and your one proviso was, "Are munchies as good?"
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
I'm just taking it back to basics.
That is
Right.
basic.
You've got
yeah.
to pre-program your life. That's where you'd start, is it? Munchies must always taste magnificent.
Well, it's just if you can still enjoy the basic things in life, then that's
Yeah,
when you can't
do.
go wrong.
You do. You enjoy them. It's the life you'd ever want to live, and
Yeah,
you're
bit
living
dangerous,
it.
that. Bit
Sorry?
dangerous.
Bit dangerous.
Why? Go on. Why?
Just, I don't know, because sometimes I think things don't happen for the best, right?
Right.
Sometimes you can sort of think, oh, I'll enjoy that if that happens. And then it doesn't happen, and you've had time to think about
But
what
this
would
is
have happened.
perfect. No, this is built in, because whatever happens is for the best. So not only when you're in this flotation tank are you enjoying yourself, that things just keep getting better or staying as
You
good.
never have a bad day.
You never have a bad day.
But how long would that last for before you go and fed up with this?
Well, why would you get fed up with it? Because you do something else. It's the perfect life.
Bear in mind, you're not aware that you're in the flotation tank. You've made that deal, but then once you're in there, you don't know, you're not aware of being in the flotation tank. You're living your life and it's perfect. You're happy. Well, we don't know how you would be happy. You just have munchies every day and...
Well,
Don't
yeah,
keep
you'd get in it
munchies.
then. You'd get in it. If you don't know you've got in this tank, if I somehow go to bed at night, someone injects me in the head, and then they go, right, stick him in the tank now, and then I wake up, packet of munchies there, sun's out, Suzanne goes, oh, it's a nice day, we'll go and do something nice. And I go,
Right.
yeah, I'm meant to be at work. She goes, no, I don't have to go in today.
Right.
I go, alright, let's go out then.
Now, what's interesting there is that within this scenario, I gave you any life, you could do anything, and you chose the exact life you've got now, except Suzanne's got a day off. Now, I both love that.
Well, I was a
and
bit
sort of-
suspicious, though, that she's just taking a day off.
No way,
willy-nilly.
it's not happening now. It's not happening, really happening. You could do anything you like. But I like the fact now you're even questioning it and you're not in the tank, and why has Suzanne got a day off, right? Now, I love that, because that suggests to me that you're a nice, happy, satisfied, whatever you want to do it, contented person who's got the perfect life. However, it's almost like you haven't fully understood the possibilities. For example, you wake up, there's the munchies, sunny day, Suzanne's not at work, you go, why aren't you at work?
half
She
a day
goes to
off.
you, hold on though, why are you flying? And you go, I just can. But you hadn't even thought that maybe you could fly or swim or hold your breath.
You just
No,
could
no,
have some
but-
munchies for
but
breakfast.
Hang on a minute, this is day one.
Oh, okay.
When you go on holiday,
Yeah.
like I said before, you don't turn up and go, right, it's 1 o'clock, jet ski for half an hour, bungee jump in 40 minutes after that, let's have a nice roti,
Yeah.
and, you know, try a little cocktail.
And what do you do? What do you do when you arrive there?
Well, you get there,
Yeah.
the fella takes your case to the room,
Right.
you have that panic of, am I going to give him too much money? I don't know the currency well enough yet, I don't know how much
More
things
information
are.
than we asked for.
Yeah.
And
No.
the most mundane scenario I've ever heard.
No, but this is what happens in real life.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So you have that scenario. You go, right, where's my shorts? You get them on. You go out and have a wander.
In the case,
You have a wander round to know where everything is. The
Car
shop,
park you did
the
once.
shop. You know how close the beach is.
Yeah.
Is it busy?
Yeah.
Okay, you're just telling us what happens when you go on holiday. What's your point?
Okay.
Because you don't want fun all in one go. You want to build to it because that's sometimes part of it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So-
anticipation. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, that little bit.
Yeah.
It's about things taking time, innit? And looking back at the journey and going,
Yeah.
how did I get here?
Okay, well,
Right.
can I ask a question? Because, sorry, what I'm fascinated to know is, if you decided to sign up to the float tank idea, okay, you can design your perfect life.
But I'd prefer not to
Well,
know I'm doing it.
No, you
won't
don't. You
know.
won't. But I
You
want to
won't
ask
know.
this question. Imagine Ricky and I are the doctors. Okay, we can put you in this tank. All we need to know from you now is what your perfect life is. And we're going to program it in the computer. You're going to wake up tomorrow. You won't know this conversation's happened. You'll have the perfect life. What, if you don't mind, we're going to take notes now. What is the perfect life? You're still obviously living with Suzanne.
We've got
but
munches.
What else?
We've got munches and we've got sunshine.
But what else would you like in your magical life your ultimate life?
I think I'd prefer...
hair.
No, because then I'd know it's not real.
No, you
No,
would
wouldn't
never
know.
know.
It just,
You
no,
would
it
never
just came
know.
back. Suzanne comes in one day and goes, "Why aren't you working?" She goes, "Look, okay, I've left my job. Can we leave why am I at work? I'm always going to be here, right? I've got a new tonic, right, from Boots. She pops it on your hair. Boop, baby gorilla."
Yeah, I don't like this idea. Suddenly Suzanne's never at work. I just think you need a bit of the badness to have the goodness.
Right.
Right. In
sorry.
a minute, you're going to be injected in the head, you're going to go to sleep, you're going to be in a floating state, but you are going to suddenly leave this office and it's going to be a virtual world. You can do what you want. You can suddenly go, "What was I hanging around with that bloke off the office for? I'm a spy." And you go to MI5 and they go, "Thanks for coming in, Pilkington. Listen, Drosky, he's coming from Russia and, he's got the..." Bang! What do you do? What's your scenario? What do you do as a job? We've got munches, Suzanne's never at work.
I'd prefer to leave everything as it is.
Brilliant.
Go in
Right.
it, but have everything the same so that I'm going, hang on a minute, has it actually happened?
What are you talking about?
No, you don't know about this. You don't know anything that's happened.
No, because you've just said you're gonna put me in the tank and you're asking questions as to what I
No.
want when I get in it.
Yeah, but you won't know you're in the
But
tank.
Once you're in the tank, you won't know. You'll have a new life, a life that you've designed.
Yes.
You'd have different memories if you wanted. You could be 5 again, or you could be now, but you weren't born in
No,
Manchester.
I prefer it to be the same, with the same memories, but the difference is, when I next get British Gas round, they go, "Oh, Mr. Pilkington, yes,
Oh my God!
The boiler
so
is
he's like
fixed.
to have a virtual life, so his boiler's fixed.
No,
Yeah, but
no,
so your
no,
boiler
no.
still goes wrong in your dream, but it
you
gets
don't.
fixed.
But you don't
Yes.
even need a boiler. You could be the perfect temperature
But
all
this
the
isn't
time.
Earth anymore. I don't like the idea of too much change. I don't want that much of a change.
But
to
you
my life.
won't realise, it won't feel like change.
Well, it's changed already. You're saying the boiler's been fixed like that. I prefer to still have that problem. Go, hang on a minute. Is this different? Suzanne's still going to work.
Right.
That's very important
But
too.
then,
You don't want her around all day.
but then, things happen
Go
that
on.
wouldn't have happened in this world.
Go on then.
Such
Right,
as?
okay, let's write that. Well, let's see the differences. What do you do? Because I've got to program this. So you've got the same job, all that. Are we still around?
Yeah, because it's part of.
I'm
it's
going to ask
part
you a
of the
question
same
now.
thing. It's-
Do I still squeeze your head every time I see you, rest you to the ground, and wind you up, try and stress you out, call you at all hours? Do I still do all that? What am I like?
You're still the same, and you still do that, but maybe one day I go, don't do that anymore because it does annoy me, and you go, okay. And then
stops.
I've dealt with it. I've sorted that problem, as opposed to this machine, this tank deciding.
Right.
I don't like the idea of this tank
Right.
making life good for me.
Right.
I want a few problems, and if there's a problem, I want to sort it.
Okay.
But
Well, you've hit the nail on the head there. We're going to go back to this because it's fascinating. But Nosek concluded that no one would get into the tank because we'd rather have a real life with all its problems than a fake life. And I sort of think you've proved that by even getting into the tank with your provisos and scenarios. I mean, you've changed nothing except your boiler being fixed and me stop squeezing your head
But
now
hang
and
on a
again.
minute.
Which makes me think that you should have your boiler fixed. And then you will have the perfect life that you can imagine.
yeah, but it's that old chestnut, innit? It's the thing of like, what's my problem then? You've got
Right.
the problem gene in your head. You've got to fill it with a problem.
Yeah, he's not a geneticist.
got the problem hole in your head.
No, it's
Got
not.
a problem hole in your head. Shut up, Ricky. Let him say what he needs to say. He's got a problem hole in his head.
He's got a problem hole in his head. It's called his mouth.
Yes.
Right, that is your problem hole.
So, if someone comes up and they go, I've fixed your boiler.
Sorry, could I just ask
let him speak.
Let me ask one question, Steve. Is the problem hole different from the problem gene, or is that a new term for...
No, you put things through the problem hole and they end up in the problem gene. You feed something in the problem hole...
Is that right, Carl?
It goes through the problem tube into the problem gene.
Okay, so it's down the problem conduit. Okay, go on then. Right. So it's better to have... You've got a problem hole in your head, right?
Yeah. So you stuff in a problem into the problem hole.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Now, all the little problems can't get in because of the big problem.
Right. Is that good or bad?
But that's not true, is it?
The problem hole is a standard size on everyone.
Right.
No, but that's
Shut up, Ricky, let him explain.
Now, Ricky, I'd say, his problems... not even problems.
Well, how big's his problem hole?
Same size as mine.
Same size as yours.
But his problems are all little ones. They're like, you've got like a load of Skittles, I've got a big cream egg.
Right, but why...
Shut up! Let him speak. He's just expanding on his idea. Why do you
what is
keep
his
interrupting?
problem? What is your problem that's so big compared to my little Skittles?
Those are the problems. You get stressed out about things that I'm like, what's up with you? You get annoyed easily with stuff. People chewing loudly, or someone breathing loudly, or someone coughing. Whereas I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like you say, to you, the boiler is like, get it ripped out, put a new one in. It's not as easy as that.
It is.
And that's why the problem ball is growing.
It's got a gene, a ball and a hole.
So the problem ball...
No wonder there's no fucking room for a brain.
Right, shut up. Let me ask... I want to clarify this. The problem ball exists in life. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It has to go through the problem hole, down the problem tube, into the problem gene.
Into the problem gene.
Right, now then. So you've got the problem ball. Everyone's problem hole is the same size.
Okay.
But some people's problems are smaller, so they can slip straight into the problem hole.
I've got a question, Stephen.
Wait.
And listen, has anyone got a pair of problem balls? Or is it always just...
Because ladies have a pair of problem balls?
No, because Hitler had one problem ball, didn't he? But could anyone ever have a pair of problem balls, is my question to you.
And some people's problem balls are much bigger than another man's. Or another woman's, right?
Yeah,
Right.
depending on the problem.
So you could have a pair of problem balls and one problem hole.
The way I'm saying it...
So supposing I came to you and said, listen...
but a man starving in a foreign country might have huge problem balls.
He might have, but if I went to a doctor and said, I've got a problem hole, and the doctor said, well, let me see it, and he said, well, let me see your problem hole, and hanging down in front of my problem hole was a huge pair of problem balls, what would he treat first, is my question.
Well, would he look into the problem hole?
He said, he'd say, take your problem genes off. Right? I want to see your problem hole clearly.
But he would put his hand or his finger into the problem hole to try and remove the problem ball, wouldn't he?
He could feel the problem balls, but he'd have to insert his finger into the problem hole, wouldn't he?
Right.
Okay, so Carl, go on then.
I'll just get in a tank.
Oh, God. Okay, so in a roundabout way, back to cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. Descartes, pondering, how do I know this isn't a dream? Well, he concluded he doesn't. When he took it further to, how do I know I even exist, he quite rightly concluded that, well, if I'm even pondering this question, I must exist. Whatever I am, wherever I am, the fact that I'm questioning, introspecting, thinking at all, I think, therefore I am. Because I'm even thinking, at least I know one thing, that I exist. That's all he said, Carl.
I don't understand why he had so much time on his hands to be worrying about this. At the end of the day, get on with it.
You're not doing shit all, Carl. So why are you so annoyed at other people who aren't doing anything? You're going out in the morning, you're staring at worms, at bugs, you're staring at the sky, wondering why it hasn't fallen on your head.
You're making up the books. That isn't researched.
What do you mean, making it up?
What is it that you're doing?
One of the chapters in your book about travel was Australia. I've never been there myself. Forget it then. Throw it away.
No, because you can still have
You
thoughts
make up stuff about a grub eating a biscuit, we're all the same. Well, I mean, what is that? That's not... But... I laughed.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that book.
Listen, everyone like me who
That
bought
book
that
is
book,
absolutely pointless.
it is in my lavatory. Every time I pop in there for a shit,
Yeah.
just take it off the shelf, have a little read.
Yeah,
Great fun.
And I'm down to about 4 pages because sometimes I forget to get bog roll. But listen, that is a fun book to wipe your ass
It's
with.
a great book to
It
wipe
was
your ass
me,
with.
but that book was good for me. I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone enjoyed it, but I was emptying my worry hole. And at the end of the day,
Wario and a problem hole.
emptying
Hold
your
on.
worry hole.
Is that different to the problem hole? Your worry hole.
it's next to it.
It's next.
Once the problem ball is being processed through the hole, is it deposited through the worry hole?
All I'm saying is, you're right. I do watch a lot of insects and stuff, and you never see them wasting time. They're always doing something. An ant's carrying something somewhere. Sometimes I watch it and it goes somewhere and comes back again. You think, does it know what it's doing? But at least it's trying.
What do you?
Now, if there was a
What
big
is it doing though? What is that ant doing?
work, it's building a house, or
what's the point? It's everything it does is pointless.
how can you say that?
It's pointless.
I'll
It's
tell
just
you what, if there was a bigger sort of being looking over the world and they went, right, let's look at the human race, and, well, they'd look at the ants first and they go, right, they've got their hands full, they're carrying big stuff, they try to save time by carrying stuff that's way too big for them, really. They could do that between 3 of them, but they don't. They're all grafting hard. Then they go, right, hit the human button. They hit the human button, they watch the humans. The amount of people who are just sat about doing now. They're
But
reading
hold
about
on.
Amy Winehouse, Lily Allen in London at 2 a.m. So what? What are we doing?
I agree with you, but what are you doing?
You see, the ant analogy, joking aside, I think there you hit on the fact that life is about working for what you get. And I'm right behind that. I am right behind that. I think that's, I think that's absolutely true.
That's what I meant. What's dangerous is
A boiling kettle to an ant.
at the end of the day, right? Yeah, but that's evil, isn't it?
What?
You know, I mean, you sometimes make out as if I'm an evil man. We had an ant problem in the garden. Suzanne said, we've got to get rid of these. And I said, well, it's a bit out of order, they are outside. And she said, yeah, but there's getting a lot of them. She went and popped the kettle on. I said, I can't handle this. I went in, right?
What? You didn't want to see the ant burn? That's sweet. You know, they're there.
Yeah, they might be causing a problem, but I don't want to see this mess. Now, the thing is, she went out, she poured the hot water on it, I left it a few minutes, I went out, I had a cup of tea, I thought, it's a waste of electrical line. So I took my cup of tea out there, and I'm sat there, and then I just saw one come back from wherever it had been. One ant. He looked devastated. Because that had been away. As far as that was concerned, it had been out to get a leaf or whatever. Came back, devastation. And it's that what that's the thing. It summed up death for me. That the ants that are dead, they didn't know anything. Suddenly they were there. Next minute, load of water, dead. It's the people who are still living in life that are the saddest, aren't they? After death. And that summed it up.
What do you think?
That ant would have been better off being there when it happened.
How could you tell the ant was?
What do you think? So you
Just the
saw
way
him,
I mean, they run around in circles anyway, don't they? But this was just kind of going, what's going on?
and what did it slow down when it got nearer the nest? Did it drop the leaf and then you see it run the last few inches?
It just kind of got close, and it was like a double take almost. Almost like it got near the hole, and then it was like, hang on a minute, this can't be it, because no one's around. And then it walked on, and it went, no, it is the hole. And it went back, and it just sort of stopped for a minute.
Ah.
And that for me, that's the sort of thoughts Descartes should have been having.
What?
Things that you can look at as a human and
yeah.
appreciate it and understand it
Yeah.
and go, yeah, that's true, that is like life. Instead of, oh, am I awake, am I asleep or what? No. Well, you might as well be asleep because you're doing nothing else.
Oh, Descartes! Winehouse, Allen. Slammed. What do you do towards enjoying your life?
I don't normally enjoy the thing when I'm doing it, it's after. It's like that holiday. When I
What
was
do you
on
mean
holiday.
you don't enjoy the thing when you're doing it, it's after? What's an example of not enjoying the thing at the moment but you do after?
You didn't enjoy the holiday.
Say
But
like
you-
the holiday, I've just
So you
been
enjoyed
away.
coming off
hang on.
holiday? What?
I want to hear it. You enjoyed the holiday. You didn't enjoy the
When
holiday.
I'm there, I had fleas biting me.
Yeah.
I had mosquitoes biting me.
Yeah.
There was a funny smell of damp in the bathroom. I was worrying, getting in the sea, thinking, is the stonefish in it? Right? Now, you've got all that going on.
Yeah.
When you get back, you forget about the damp smell. You forget
Well,
about
you
the
haven't.
fleas, because the bites have gone. They're not as much of a problem.
Yeah.
So then your brain starts going, well, hang on, what did I enjoy? and you go, I enjoyed the dorada fish I had that I've never eaten.
Yeah.
That's an experience. At the time, I wasn't enjoying it because I'm thinking, when I get back, I'm going to have fleas on me again.
Yeah.
So you remember all the good stuff. It's like an old person when they're dying, and they go, I'm having flashbacks. They don't say, I'm remembering the time my shoes were too tight.
What do they say?
They're having they're going, oh, I loved the time with that.
I was wearing flip-flops.
No, they enjoy, they have flashbacks
Like
of the
what,
nice
though?
holidays.
What do you think you'll
The
look back?
holidays and that, you'll go, oh, the lovely hot summer of 79.
So you don't enjoy anything you enjoy while you're doing it?
At the moment in time, it's
I
always
don't understand
afterwards.
that. I mean, that is the oddest thing I've ever heard
I think
about.
there's actually a medical term for it. There's someone who's unable
I've never heard of
to
it.
enjoy, to receive pleasure, to take pleasure.
It's really weird, that is really weird.
No, because you're busy doing the thing. So
What,
you haven't got time to enjoy
So
it.
you can't enjoy something you're busy doing, because you're busy doing it, you can't possibly enjoy it.
Or, you don't know if you're going to enjoy it because it hasn't finished yet.
Well, Carl, but listen, I know from the, at the
Right,
moment...
say this.
But listen,
Bungee jumping. I'd love to be able to do it. I bet you get a brilliant feeling as you're
Right.
falling.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't be enjoying it because I'd be going, is the thing going to snap?
Right, okay, well there is something about that. Extreme sports, there is a reason why you're doing it. It is the after effect you enjoy, because it's the fear and then the endorphins that rush to you and you go, oh God, I survived, isn't it brilliant? That's a feeling of euphoria, so that's...
No, you're having a nice dinner.
Right, okay.
Now, when I get a menu given to me in a restaurant,
Yeah,
I go, right, what am I going to do here?
yeah.
Right, well, when I came here, I thought I'd have some lamb chops. They've got lamb chops, great. Wonder how much to give you, because I quite fancy this pudding they've got.
Right.
Now, I have the lamb chops, it comes with extra veg. I eat it, I enjoy it. The pudding I wanted, it's gone out the window, I've got no room for it now.
Yeah.
But you enjoyed the lamb chops.
You enjoyed them chops, you can only pack so much enjoy. If you're enjoying all your life all the time, there's no point in regretting anything.
That's just greed.
No, but I was looking forward to the pudding.
Well, you shouldn't have eaten all the veg.
Yeah, but I was enjoying it at that point.
But then you take the pleasure that you had at that point.
No, because I wanted a pudding.
Yeah, but you...
But you didn't want a pudding, or you've had a pudding.
No, because I would have had it for the sake of having it. And then it's
Yeah,
ruined.
but I don't know what the whinge is there. You had a lovely meal, you had some lovely lamb chops, you enjoyed the hour.
Because when I read that they had like profiteroles on there,
Yeah.
I thought I fancy a couple of them.
Yeah,
And the chance has gone. I'm probably not coming back to this restaurant now.
yeah, but you
because
haven't missed a chance. You had the chance. You didn't want to take it because you were full up with lovely lamb.
It's
What's
not like
the
you
problem?
didn't enjoy the lamb and the veg. If you'd not enjoyed that, I can understand your point. But you had a lovely time eating the lamb and the veg.
If
Remember
someone,
with the gravy?
if the bloke came here and said, you can have the buffet rolls if you eat this lamb you don't like, you go, oh, and you ate the lamb, you didn't like it, but now you're full, then you could whinge. You wish I hadn't have been forced to eat the lamb, I could have the buffet rolls. That's, you know...
I had a spicy sausage. in the garden.
Right.
Now the problem was I was enjoying it, but I thought this is the spiciest sausage I've ever eaten.
Right.
Now I could only enjoy that the next day night when I knew that it's
The
gone
next day
through my
night.
body. There hasn't been a problem. So I go, that was a nice sausage. I'd have one of them again.
Right. That was a nice sausage! But then the next time, surely you'd be enjoying it, because you wouldn't have the trauma of the next night, because you'd lived through it, and now you're just enjoying
But
the
the
lovely
problem-
spiciness and the sausaginess of the spicy sausage.
Yeah, but the problem is, once you've enjoyed something, it's very difficult to replace what you got from that spicy sausage the first time.
Then why are you looking forward to having another one?
Because let me tell you,
Go on.
Auntie Nora,
Yeah.
she's guilty of this all the time.
She
Right.
loves a spicy
Well,
sausage.
she, you know, I've told you she prepares all her food, right? She's got them all in bags in a freezer, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
She's got it all there. Now, what she normally does, she makes a big pot of curry.
Right.
She goes, what I'll do, I'll pop that in the Monday bag, and I'll pop it in the Thursday bag. It's the same curry. Now, she has it on the Monday.
Yeah.
She loves it. She thinks I got the mix just right there. The spices are good. The
Yeah.
chicken was tasty.
I'm looking forward to Thursday.
I'm looking forward to Thursday. I can't wait for Thursday.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll call her up on the Thursday evening. I'll go, how was the curry that you had on Monday that you said you were having again on Thursday that you enjoyed? Didn't enjoy it. Why is that? Dunno. Just want the same. Now, the weird thing there is it is the same. Auntie Nora, that is the same. It's from the same bag. It's from the same pot. But
Yeah.
she was expecting too much. And that's the problem. If I had that spicy sausage again, it's never going to live up to it. So forget the spicy sausage. I've had it. I've experienced it.
So you're
if
never
someone
another one?
says, well, it depends.
So do you have anything twice, ever?
Maybe not.
But this is insane, Carl,
But
because aside from you and your Auntie Norma and presumably all the other Pilkington clan, or all as weird as one another, why you phone her up and ask her what she's having for tea, I don't know.
Yeah, that's one thing.
What, and
that shows
not
you
only what is happening on Monday, but what you're going to do on Thursday as well. I'll make a note of it in the Auntie Norma food diary.
That's proof that you really aren't enjoying your life.
Exactly.
To go, right, oh, fucking hell.
What else do you say
But
to
then
old
he's
people?
phoning her up again late on the Friday to find out how the Thursday curry went down.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
That's 2 calls that week.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's just
Just
good
read
to-
her journal.
No, it makes her happy, doesn't it, getting a call? She's got nothing else.
Yeah,
What
but
else
the curry
she's gonna
doesn't.
tell
The
me?
curry don't make her happy.
No, she did the first
They
time.
loved it on Monday, we should like it on Thursday.
Now, the question is it better to enjoy something once and not again than not at all?
But you're an idiot because you're the only person who experiences this.
That's not the choice. That's not the choice for normal people. You can either never enjoy summer or only enjoy it once. You can enjoy things loads of times.
No, you can't.
That's what a hobby is. A hobby is enjoying things over and over again.
I haven't got a hobby ever. That's why. I've had loads of hobbies in the past. I did the dancing, I did the boxing, I did, what else have I done?
That is it. I think that's what.
But that's what I'm saying now, I soon get bored. And it's like how you enjoy, I love munchies,
Yeah.
but I always enjoy the last one more than...
Well, that doesn't make sense. That goes totally counter to your argument.
No, because it's from one packet.
What?
It's from one packet.
What difference does that make? The first one's surely your favourite.
No,
So
it's
hold on.
not.
So if you were to have one munchie, I'll go as a munchie, mate. You
No.
go, I'm not going to take one unless I can have all of them, particularly the last one.
Well,
But what this?
no, I'd like to have them all, please.
What? No, you can't have them all. Don't be so greedy. Have one munchie. Have the first munchie. There
But
you
I'm
go.
going to have one, and then I'm going to get a taste for them, and I'll probably want another.
Well, no, they're my munchies, though, aren't they?
I'll
Do you
keep them then, forget it.
Well, look, so you'd rather have no munchies than one munchie?
I'll go and buy a packet. I'd prefer to go, do you know what? I fancy a packet of them.
But why do you enjoy the
Okay,
why
wait.
do you enjoy the last munchie more than the first? Whereas
know
you
that's the
enjoy the
last
first
one.
curry, but not the
But
second
you know it's
curry.
the last one.
Because I'm eating them all in one sitting. I'm not going, that's for Monday, that's for Tuesday, that's for Wednesday. I'm
Right.
talking about a packet of munchies.
Right.
I eat them. There's probably about 12 in a packet.
Okay.
I shove the first 4 in without even thinking what I'm eating.
Really bastard.
You shoved the first 4 in!
Without even
Right.
thinking about what I'm
Right.
eating.
Now, then, when you're getting towards the end, you make them last more, you might bite the top off them. You look what's inside them, you go, I'm liking this.
But
You know
hold
that
on,
last
what,
one?
every time?
What, every time you buy a packet of munchies? I
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
So, hold on, though. You must enjoy a packet of munchies regularly, then?
Not as often as you think. They have
I
an
don't
offer on
know.
them.
Well,
No
it's not
opinion.
as I think. I don't know. So tell me how often you enjoy a packet of munchies.
Normally after sort of, maybe once a month.
So, every month, you look forward to a lovely packet of munchies. And the same experience.
Yeah,
You
but
like
at the
first
end,
one.
I like the last one.
The only thing you know you enjoy, look forward to enjoy, and it fulfills all those expectations is a fucking packet of munchies once a month. Fuck me. What do you think happiness is?
Again, you only know the happiness because of the badness. You've got to
Well-
have a yin and a yang.
Well, I know what you mean there. I agree with you on this because it's sort of no good to be handed it on a plate. I mean, just from my own experience, working for someone does feel better because you've got a pride and a satisfaction. I genuinely think it's better to start a business, struggle, go bust, come back, than win the lottery.
Yeah.
I genuinely believe that, and the older I get, the more sure I am of that. That working hard is itself the reward, and I genuinely believe that. But where does it end? It's no point having the struggle till you die, and never get any happiness. So, what's your balance? We don't have to go into philosophical terms here. What's your balance? What's your yin and yang of a good life? And by good life, I mean one that you've enjoyed or been satisfied with, and one that you have no regrets or guilt or shame, and a bit of pride.
What are you asking me? I've got a bit of all that.
Right.
But you need the mixture, don't you? So you find out what your favourite thing is. It's like a bag of Revels.
Yeah, but you can't cherish guilt or shame.
Did you just
can
say life is like a bag of Revels? Isn't that dangerously close to life's like a box of chocolates?
In Forrest Gump over there, yeah.
No,
Jesus,
but it is, isn't it? There's one or two in there that I don't like.
like what?
The raisin. The
No,
raisin
no.
with chocolate.
Yeah, no.
Now what I'm saying
metaphorically, what's the
Yeah, well, I'm
actually
using-
named what Revel he doesn't like?
Yeah, well, I'm telling you because it works in life.
Go on then.
But the Revel
You like
is
raisins?
there.
Go on.
Well, maybe if you have
What?
enough raisin ones,
Yeah.
you eventually go, do you know what? They're not that bad.
What?
And that's the thing in life.
Well, hold on, wait a minute. So what are you saying? Where's this metaphor? Are you saying suddenly all the bad things in life are pretty good, actually, if you just get used to them?
Sometimes out of bad comes some good.
Go on.
At the end of the day, the rebel thing.
What happened to the munchie here?
Well, again, with life, if you have too much munchies, you get sick of the munchies. So move on, mix it up. What mixes it up? Bag of rebels. You've got a bit of everything in there.
Right.
Even the ones you don't like, you might like in the end, you'll go, do you know what? I was wrong.
Lose the analogy now. Actually just talking about rebels now, in life. What about, what has he enjoyed before?
What would you have written to Jim will fix it to fix for you? What would have given you pleasure as a kid? Dear Jim, can you fix it for me to do what?
When I watched Jim will fix it as a kid, they never really lived up to what the kid wanted, did they?
But what would you have requested?
But I don't think I would, because I think I saw how disappointed most of the kids were.
God, it's
a kid like whistling, they brought out Roger Whittaker.
Yes, because they look at it and they go, can you fix it for me to go into space? No. Can I dance with Bananarama? No problem. That's the ones they pick.
Yeah, so that's why I wouldn't write in, because whatever you ask for, you're always going to get a watered-down version.
But if Jim could fix it for you to do anything, what would you have chosen?
There's not many things I wanted as a kid.
One thing. Just one thing. To choose one thing, please.
That my name was Brett.
Oh, fucking hell! It's not unbelievable!
I mean, it's extraordinary.
There is no predicting that.
Okay, you know what? I can make that dream come true for you right now, Brett.
We can just call you Brett from now on.
Not a problem, Brett.
Brett Pilkington.
It sounds good.
I love the fact that it's the Carl bit he wants to replace, not the fucking Pilkington.
No, but that doesn't work either, because like then I told me mum and dad that that's what I wanted. They started calling me that, but then I forgot.
They went along with it.
Yeah.
So you said, Mum, Dad, call me Brett from now on, and they went, all right.
Yeah, but then I kept forgetting that I was Brett, so I wasn't answering, so they went back to Carl.
Oh,
it's amazing!
So you've had that dream come true?
Yeah, and it wasn't that good. And that's what I'm saying to you. Things never live up to what you want. Dreams, what are they?
Taking one of the big themes of philosophy further, why are we here? What's the point of life? What is it to be human? The ethical upshots of some of the technological and medical breakthroughs pose, you know, more of their own questions. Cloning, is that a person in its own right? Well, of course it is. What about if you grow that for harvesting without the brain?
So growing kind of vital organs, presumably in a laboratory.
What about that? You know, stem cell research. Is that, you know?
I mean, there's weird things happening all the time with all this transplant stuff. Read about one who, you know, a way of sort of, you're saying, oh, it's just a bit of meat.
Yeah.
You're saying, no, it doesn't matter.
No, what I meant, organs can't have rights and feelings.
No, but listen to this.
Go on.
So
it's going to be bullshit.
No.
The sensors went up.
Would you like a small wager?
Beep, 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 beep. The sensors went up when he said, right, listen to this.
Okay,
right.
I'm going to bet you £5, Rick, that this is not bullshit. Don't let me down, Carl.
Okay, I'm going to bet you, they found out it was the heart of a chimp and the bloke selling like bananas.
Okay.
And the doctor bought it half price at a market.
I've got faith in Carl. I don't think he's going to let me down here. Not when we're talking about philosophy. He's going to have done some careful research.
Okay.
Let's take a wager. £5 is coming my way.
So, what happened is, do you know like people do, donor cards?
Mm-hmm.
Someone filled one out saying, if I die, you can have my kidney, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, he died. He said, get the kidney out. They got the kidney out of him. Someone who needed a new kidney, they were like over the moon, there's a new kidney on the way. But this person who who needed the new kidney had a couple of things.
What?
He wasn't very good at driving.
Yeah.
And he couldn't stand yellow biscuits.
Right.
Couldn't stand yellow biscuits.
Okay.
He just didn't like them. There was something, he didn't know why, he's just never liked them. Anyway, they pop it in, he's having his tests done, he's in hospital for a couple of days, goes home, goes, could do with a yellow biscuit.
What the fuck's a yellow biscuit?
Just a...
Banana baldies. What are you talking about?
Just a yellow biscuit.
Who decides? I like all biscuits except yellow ones. Where is this
I'm just telling you what happened.
Right.
And
Well,
it
I don't
turned
know
out
why. I don't know what the colour of the biscuit's necessarily got to do with it.
It's like a phobia. It's an odd phobia.
Oh, so he fears the combination of yellowness and biscuitiness.
Right, so a bloke...
He doesn't mind biscuits, I don't mind yellow. Don't ever put them together, that's my worst nightmare!
So, right, I'm confused as to who's got what, whose kidney. There's a bloke's received a new kidney. He hated biscuits.
He's not very good at driving, he hates custard creams.
Right, but now, suddenly, after the hospital after the operation, I really fancy yellow biscuit.
Yeah.
Okay, does he go out for a drive at any point?
He went driving.
Right, because he's going to be terrible.
He loved driving
all over the road. What?
He loved driving.
He liked driving all of a sudden.
What? But he hated it.
I know, but this is what's weird.
It's bollocks. The kidney is a filter system.
But if you have something for long
It's
enough...
like getting a new tea strainer and suddenly liking yellow biscuits and driving.
No.
The kidney has no impact on anything.
No. It's like how if you knock about with someone, you pick up their little things that they do.
Right.
Suzanne kept saying to me, that's a nonsense. I said, stop saying that. You've suddenly picked that up from someone. I said, you've never said that before. And you've done it 3 times in about 2 days. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Christ. Living with Karl. He doesn't like me saying nonsense. I don't know why.
But let's be honest, if you're going to live with Karl, you're going to use the phrase, that's nonsense.
You're going to start
quite a
coming
lot.
up with more and more bollocks, nonsense, rubbish, shit. Round-headed fool, you've picked that up from someone. You've used that 200 times in the last 3 minutes.
Head like a fucking orange.
Stupid fucking bald cunt. Where'd you get that from, Suzanne?
You've said it 3 times just during
Fucking
breakfast.
hell, dim-witted half... Steve, £5.
Yep.
A big question, particularly in the area of philosophy of the mind, is what is intelligence?
It's just... it's what you know, isn't it?
Well, that's knowledge, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's a form of knowledge, intelligence.
No, I don't think it is.
Why not?
Because intelligence, really, is everything from the ability to retain knowledge, to understand it, to apply. It's probably a little bit like the difference between how fast the computer is and how good the program on that computer is.
It's no good. I'd say I've got a brain that can work stuff out. But sometimes, if I tell it too much, it can't remember all of it. Now, if I had a brain that had loads of memory space,
Yeah.
tell me as much as you want.
Well, that's important. That's
And you
important.
keep it.
But yeah, but some people say that's what intelligence is, isn't it? Memory. It's no good saying he's brilliant. He learns 10,000 facts a day. Really? Yeah, he forgets them the next day.
Yeah. Well, that's
Right.
what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, but what good is that? Trivia is nothing. It doesn't show intelligence.
It's good for chat. It's good for chat, innit? When you're out and about, if you meet a stranger, it's good to drop something in, like, you know.
Go on.
What would you drop in?
To show you're intelligent.
Well, just to meet you've just met me at the bus stop. You think here's a nice fella.
Steve's at the bus stop. There he is. He's there. He's got his little duffel coat on, his little scarf, his file. He's got his little glasses. They're a little bit mudded up where some ruffians are like thrown mud at him, and I've seen this, and he's cried and he's shat himself.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah, and he's run to the bus stop to go home to his mum.
That's not
okay.
true at all.
So at the bus stop, there he is. You come along, you go, oh, who's this nerd who shut himself?
That
right?
would never happen.
Right,
Would never
right,
happen.
and you
I'd have
sit-
fought though. I'd have had a fight with him.
Yeah, and you go, okay, he's obviously intellectual, look at him. And he's gone, and he's looked at you, and he's gone, Jesus Christ, you look thick. Prove him wrong.
No, what I'd do...
Go on.
There's no point just having one fact.
Right.
I'd wait for him to start a topic, and I'd show my intelligence by having a fact on the topic he's brought up.
Okay.
Because we can all have one topic
Yeah.
that you go, oh, I'll show this off, and then, you know, someone goes, oh, has he been talking to you about the peanut fact again? And
Yeah.
you go, he's obviously telling everyone, then it's just a boring answer.
Okay, so I might just say to you, you know, what are your views on mathematics?
I'd just say the thing with numbers is, there's loads of them.
I remember I told you an interesting fact, once again to try and explain infinity to you, and I told you this. There are as many even numbers as even and odd numbers put together.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
it's. I think I've said before that I don't think things like that are impressive because numbers are man-made anyway.
Right.
If you were talking about, like, when you mentioned about there's more insects we don't know about than what we do, then you're going, oh, where are they? Where are they hiding? It leaves a question. The fact that there's loads of numbers, it's like, yeah, but at the same time, you could rule numbers out of your life if you wanted to.
Really?
You could live a life.
Do you really think that?
Difficult.
Yeah, you could. There's tribes. There's tribes in the Amazon.
Yeah, but they're not
They
getting
only
their
count
food from
to-
Sainsbury's, are
No,
they?
They count to 3. They don't need any more numbers than 3. And they just have 3 because they go, 1, they know what 1 is, they go, pass us one of them. And they have one of them.
What do you mean?
Anything
What
over,
do you mean
anything
when they
over
say-
3,
Yeah.
they just say, well, you're being greedy. So they don't need it.
But what if they've got 5 children?
How many kids you've got when you're living in a place like that, it doesn't matter. It's not about you're just part of the tribe,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter.
Right, where is this tribe that only counts to 3?
It's somewhere like the Amazon or something,
Really?
and there's no more numbers than 3. They don't need it. Anything more than 3, they just say, I'll have more,
Right.
or gives another 3. But
Give
they
us
don't
another
need
3.
To, well, yeah,
Yeah.
or another 1, or another 2.
But what if they need 200? That's complicated, isn't it?
Well, you just keep going, give us 3, and then just
That
keep
seems
asking
a
for
slow
3.
way of doing it.
They've got nothing else to do. They're living in the Amazon.
Alright, I'm at the bus stop.
Oh, here's your bust.
So far, you've told me nothing about maths whatsoever.
So you're concluding that he is dim?
Fucking idiot.
When I was on holiday recently,
Yeah.
I got talking to an old fella, because where I went, it's mainly for old people. I got chatting with him. You could tell he had a lot of money.
Yeah.
He sort of tanned. He had that sort of rouge-coloured sort of jeans,
Oh, yeah.
which is always sort of...
Telltale sign.
It's kind of like he's got money.
Yeah.
And,
The red jeans are twice as much, sir. It's okay, I've got money.
yeah, it's sort of... It's either that colour or yellow. But you
Yeah.
can carry it off when you're an old man, and especially with the tan, you think, yeah, he's got a few quid.
I'm a millionaire. Do you have any yellow jeans? We've got one pair, sir, but
For
no
the
one...
most expensive
Yeah,
off.
they're in the back room. Could I just see your bank account first? There it is. Oh, yeah, you can afford yellow jeans, all right, sir. Come this way.
So I got talking to him, and it turns out he had a cruise ship.
Right.
Loads of money. Now, I was chatting to him for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What colour was his jacket?
Said he didn't have a jacket on, just a white shirt.
He's wearing red jeans and a white shirt.
Yeah, sort of leather slip-on shoes, that I can remember.
And how old is he?
It's hard to tell, because he was well tanned.
Right.
Was he an attractive man?
He's a good-looking fella.
So he's rich, so you saw this rich, good-looking bloke with just a shirt on.
Oh, he had a shirt and his pink
Yeah.
pants.
His picked pants, and he just went over
Well,
and struck up a conversation.
I don't know, why did you notice what colour the crotch area was?
What?
Why did you notice what
You were
colour
looking very much at the arse
I
and the
can see
crotch
why
area.
you could see, if you're looking at his face, you could see a white shirt,
I'll
but
tell
why
you
could you
why,
see
I'll tell you
what
why.
colour
This is what I'm
the
telling you.
fabric around his
This is what
testicles
I'm
were?
saying.
You saw a good-looking old man sat at the bar. You went out and bought him a drink.
Yeah, you
I
so
was
you
waiting
noticed
for the
that-
barbecue to open.
Right, okay, and
I
you
got
noticed
there
a man's...
early.
So you noticed
So
a
it was
man's
9 in the morning.
trousers.
No.
Yeah, no.
I was annoyed. I
Right.
don't like late nights on holiday.
Right,
With
okay.
jet lag. Suzanne said, let's go down there early tonight.
Right.
I get there, I find out the barbecue's not for another 40-odd minutes.
What time was
The
it?
holiday rep. Well, I don't know, it starts at 8.
You're
so I had to
noticing
wait for
people,
40
you're
minutes.
noticing old men's genital coverings, but you don't know what fucking time it is.
Yeah, but what
Get
I'm
your story
saying, What I'm
straight.
saying to you is, the
Right.
reason I noticed his pants is because what he was talking about,
Right.
there was no reference points. I didn't have a clue what he was going on about.
Right, what was he talking about for your eyes to wander down to his penis, is what I'm trying to say. What made you look at his penis?
Because I got bored. I didn't know. What I'm trying to say to you is his reference points. I had no idea
what
what
was
he
he
was going on
talking
about.
about?
He was talking about how he was in some Cuban war. He told me about how he'd met President Reagan. He told me something about how he'd cut up a cow once. There was
And so,
What is this bloke? I think he's a maniac
It's fucking
who has
Dexter.
spilt blood on his trousers
Yeah.
whilst hacking up his dead wife. He's gone insane. He's jithering and chatting away, claiming he owns a cruise ship.
he told me he spent 36 grand on furniture. And when I sort of looked at him like, what
You're
have you been
beautiful.
buying? And he's going, oh, well, I needed a couple of shade lounges. And it was just, there was nothing I could relate to.
He lunges.
Nothing.
Wasn't she in a TV series?
I don't understand why you have no interest in either being in a Cuban war, having met Ronald Reagan.
Because
why is that not interesting? Why have you got
because I
no
didn't
reference?
know
I don't
anything.
know why the trousers would much more appealing to you. If someone was telling me,
Tell you what, I was in a war.
and then
I met
was
Che Guevara and
yeah,
Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro, and then why are you looking at my packet?
So that's my point. It's just
What's your point?
That you can have a chat with a fella just like I'm talking to the geek at the bus stop. And
He even pointed.
sometimes
What?
you can't take part. What am I meant to say about him meeting Reagan? What am I meant to say about him being
But
in the
aren't you
Cuban
interested
War?
to ask him questions about he was in a war?
When I sort of took it back to, I wonder what meat they're doing at the barbecue, he wasn't bothered.
Yeah.
I love the fact that that's your contribution. He's talking about the missile crisis, and you're going,
He's
oh,
met presidents and
Yeah.
important people. He's experienced extraordinary
You
things,
see,
which
the
would be
language-
fascinating to anyone. And you're not interested. You just want to know whether the sausages.
But I mean, there it is, you see. He's come down, he's looked at you without prejudice and thought, I don't know this guy. The language barrier probably saved you. And he thought he's probably a smart guy. I'll tell him a bit about my life.
He
Why
never
is he
said
looking at
to
my
me.
fucking
Why
ass?
is he looking at my meat?
Why is he looking at my meat and two veg? They don't like the barbecue. You don't need the barbecue. It's a lovely little fucking sausage here.
When you're talking to a stranger, aren't you meant to keep it
Above the waist.
keep it
Looking at his bollocks.
keep it to a-
Erect. I made Carl laugh. Well, there you have it. The in-depth study of the mother of science. The Ricky Gervais Guide to Philosophy. You can still enjoy the back catalogue of these guides, medicine, natural history, and the arts, and seasons 1 to 5 of the Ricky Gervais Show. Over the last few years, with all our explorations, our studies, what have you learnt? What's the one big thing you've learnt since we've been doing this, since you've met myself and Stephen, since we've been prodding you, since we've treated you like an ape that we want to teach to speak? What have you learnt about yourself and the world? One thing, if you had to take it with you.
Don't know. I don't think I've learned anything that substantial
Ever?
during all this. There's not been anything groundbreaking, has there? We've chatted about midgets with no arms and legs, gay ones. I don't know if that will ever crop up again in a chat. So even if I've learned something from it, I don't think it'll ever crop up again. So it's no use. That's what I'm saying to you about information and intelligence. It's if you can use it. There's
So
no
you're
point having a brainy
saying
head.
this series of audiobooks at the price of £1.95 is absolutely worthless and pointless?
Yeah, I suppose it is, yeah.
Thanks. Good night.